Greetings. How are you?
Greetings, Commander. I'm very good. And yourself, sir?
Yep, very good, thank you. Very, very good.
Excellent, excellent. I'm not. A lot of people probably already know your name, but of course you are infamously known as one of the main members of the Fuel Rats, aren't you?
Yes, I've been there since the start, and been shouting about them since the start. So I think, yeah, many people associate me as, oh look, here comes a fuel rat.
Absolutely, and I must start the stream by saying I'm going to show this to everyone on the camera. So thank you very much for sending this to me, Rusty. I really appreciate the mug that you sent through, and as an honorary Fuel Rat, I salute you, sir.
You're very welcome, and yeah, and as I say, it's thank you for everything you do for the community and your support of the fuel rats.
Like I said, I'm absolutely glad to do it. I love getting involved. I've always been really kind of into the whole cooperative play, helping people out and things like that. So when the Fuel Rats come along, it was like, this is really cool. This is exactly what I want to do. Is helping people out. It's really, really awesome. So greetings to everyone in the chat. It's nice to see you in there. Some familiar names. So Bubble Map is, hey Bubble, how you doing? New drinking game. Every time we say Barnacle, we have to drink. It's going to be one of those streams. I know it is. Yes, greetings to everyone. Saturnine, Gaming with Ian, Shanrai, Dirk D, I see you in there, XLG, Edith the Hut, new name, greetings Commander, thank you for joining in. So yes, we were talking about this a little bit before, weren't we, Rusty? At the moment, as you can probably hear by the eerie music in the background, yes, I am on the infamous Merope 5C, which everyone should now know is where the first barnacles were found. So I'm going to go ahead and put all my equipment back on because I turned it all off, and hopefully we can go over to the barnacles right now. Now you won't be getting this through at the moment, unfortunately, Russ. You won't be able to hear the sound, but they've got a strange sound which is kind of half kind of natural, half artificial. It's a really odd sound. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave that on the stream for a little bit so people can hear that. Plipe's barnacles are itchy. Greetings, Plipe. Game was in. Oh, you were searching Merope 5 a week ago, and you were just unlucky. Yeah. See, interestingly enough, Michael Brooks did say that this particular barnacle, which was found, was one of the more difficult ones to find in the game. So he was actually surprised that this one was found first. So we're not going to dwell on it too much because I know that there's already been a lot of it covered in the newsletter and everything. And congrats again to Commander Octo for being the first commander out there. For finding it. So I'm just going to go ahead and we've just arrived now. Got that strange eerie music in the background. Now it seems to have that, you've got this larger barnacle structure in the middle, and lots of people have been making guesses at what that is. You've got these spikes on the outside, which look like they'd have these little seed pods. Naturally, humans being humans, everyone's first reaction, they've gone and shot the damn things. As you do.
I think all the photos I've seen have been with the barnacles, all these things here, the structure's broken.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all these kind of group people gathering around them, everyone's blowing them up to see what makes them tick and everything in there. Game with Ian, yes, you are right. These ones don't show up as a point of interest, so they are very hard to spot as you're flying over above, trying to spot them. They show up from about 2.5 kilometers away, I think, is the range, and then you can suddenly see them. A bit freaky when I first approached it, and you just kind of see these little speckles. It's like, okay, you don't normally see rocks at this distance. You start to get closer, and it's like, oh yeah, that's it, that's the one. So it's nice to find something like that. It brings a different mechanic to the game. I think it's really interesting. We've been flying in space so long to get down close to the ground and be looking for things on the ground. It's a completely different kind of mechanic and way of thinking about the game. So yeah, so you can use your data link scanner on these things, which I've tried, but all that tends to happen is the little boom link complete icon pops up on there. That's it. Nothing else. Rather ominous. People have been pointing out on top of the structure here as well. Let's go and see if we can show it down there. So we've got this little symbol in the middle, and people have been guessing at what that is. I'll leave that on the screen for a second, Rusty, so you can catch up with where we are on it. But yeah, lots of speculation about what that symbol is, what it means. People are saying that symbol, it can't just be a natural thing. It looks like it's something artificial, like something is branded it. So it's a bit of an interesting thing. Definitely not human. Just look at these things. Tayamaru, greetings. What else we got on there? No Life King, greetings. Thank you for joining in. Seabiscuit. It could be a bad for the liver if you play that drinking game. Yes, there's going to be lots of mentions of barnacles tonight. Huggy Monster, greetings. So the other thing we've got on here as well, we've got these other larger structures here. I've got these pods at the top. Now people have discovered that if you go ahead and blast these away, those pods come off and they give you a fair chunk of the meta alloys, which is another commodity which has been added into the game. But these smaller structures just tend to pop off these little seeds, which you'll see, the tiny little seeds, but they show up as things like sulfur and phosphorus, just regular materials. But of course, it's got everyone speculating. It's like, oh no, if you take those back to the station, they're going to infect things and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get onto that shortly because there's a lot in the newsletter about that. Fiery Toad is here, Kerrash. Yes, I had a little sneaky preview of my theme tune that Commander Human is working on. So I'm looking forward to that. That's really silly, but I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, Ecos, you've got a point. I don't think it's supposed to represent Barnard's Loop. A lot of people have been guessing that little symbol is in some way signifying that. Personally, I just think it's a brand. I think it's like it's almost like a faction or a power logo, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like that, and I think that's kind of what they're going for there. My worry is of course we've only got one of these things which has been found so far, so we've got nothing else to compare it to. We desperately need to get out and find. I mean, if we're doing science, we need more points to measure from, so we need to get out there and find more of these things. Now, I'm not going to blow up these poor barnacles because I think they've suffered enough abuse this week. I'm going to go ahead and jump back into the ship. And Rusty. So Talus, we were just talking before we started that you had an epic rescue last night, didn't you?
Yes, I managed to get in game for the first time all week, and for the first time for ages, I actually responded to a rat signal and headed out to rescue someone stuck about 5,500 light years out from the bubble. They were almost at a scoopable star, but fell about 2.5 light years short. So myself and Commander Doc Slow headed out to rescue him. So I think we rescued him about 2:30 this morning. So very happy on his way, yes, I was rather tired.
Yes, I bet. Well, that deserves a round of applause. I think that's absolutely excellent. I can't believe the lengths that you guys will go. I mean, wow. It's just crazy. It's really, really awesome that there's a great group out there that's willing to do that just to help people. I think that's awesome.
Yes, but I mean, 5,500 now is kind of one of our shorter long distance rescues. The guys went out and set a new record for distance at 56k last week. Someone was just at the abyss, ready to cross out to the outer rim, and ran out of fuel. So 3 rats headed out and did the whole 56,000 light years out to rescue him. Commanders Remy Zero, let's make sure I get the right commander names. Commanders Remy Zero, Nirexel and Halosos, with Remy Zero firing the first limpet. So congratulations to them, a truly epic distance.
That is awesome. That is some sort of rescue, absolutely. I mean, that like I said just before we started, I've done a handful of little rescues. I don't think they were all official, to be honest, because I think some of them were just like they noticed me online. It's like crash help sort of thing. So yeah. I've helped with a couple of things like that, but I want to try and get involved with a few more. The plan is to go out exploring tonight, so hopefully I will be on the giving end rather than the receiving end.
So you're going to take some limpets with you, or are you going to go pure exploration with long jump range?
Well, at the moment I'm set up pure exploration. I've got a plan tonight. There's a couple of nearby stars, only a few hundred light years. You know, once you've done a few rescues and things like that, you know, hundreds of light years is nothing, is it? It's just just walk to the shop sort of thing. So I got to head out. There's a couple of places I want to try and get to tonight. Rigel being one of them. I haven't gone to some of these nearest stars, some of these big stars. I haven't been there, so I want to go there. That's the first thing I want to do. Who was that who just said that in the chat there? Marty thinks that the symbol looks like the Pleiades Nebula from a certain angle. The brand, yeah, that's a good one. Karakino, yes, I have found those barnacles. They're right here. someone else suggesting, was it Gaming with Ian suggested they look like a does it look like a particular constellation? I don't think so. I mean, it kind of looks like a random arrangement. So I think it's just kind of a natural cluster of them there.
It'd be interesting to see when the next one's found, whether it's the same layout or different, same symbol.
This is exactly the thing. Is like we've only got this one point of reference to base the data on. At these where is it? These grid coordinates over here. You can see on the screen. So this is the only one which has been found so far. There are more out there. There absolutely are. Michael Brooks has said that. Not just in the Pleiades either, because he did hint that nebulas were a good place to find them. There might be other places out in other nebula, so that's part of my exploration trip. I'm going to go out and have a look at some of these other nebula. Now, people may have noticed, actually, if I get the... let's get the GalNet news up. Let's level off a little bit first before I end up smashing into the ground. So if we bring the GalNet news up, there were a couple of articles in the GalNet news which is all related to this story. There's a huge kind of backstory playing out now because they've managed to unlock this. So I'll start off with the first one. So obviously, some people might know that there was a community goal to set up Obsidian Orbital. I imagine everybody in the chat probably knows that. This was set up in the Maya system, which is just just one jump away from Merope. Now, for a long while, it was starting to suffer problems. The systems were deteriorating. Now, a lot of people were speculating that it was because of the unknown artifacts, which were these previously discovered little canisters out in space. Oh, sorry, Mike. Jump. There we go. Let's... Boom. There we go. How's that? Better? Sorry. So yeah, so I put myself back over the right now. I'm over here, guys. I'm over here. So the unknown artifacts were discovered. They've been causing toxic corrosion damage to ships, and then people have been speculating that, of course, they've been causing problems with the stations as well. They've been shutting down services and things like that. Now, as soon as the barnacles, well, almost as soon as the barnacles were discovered, just after the barnacles were discovered yesterday, this unknown signal popped up in the GalNet news on there, which was found approximately 23 light years from the station, but they couldn't figure out which direction it was in. Now, some enterprising people on the forums have already concluded that that first part must be binary planet, which I think that's fair to say, and it looks like lat and long, so you've got these latitude and longitude indications here. So there's a binary planet out there somewhere with some coordinates somewhere in the 20 degree and the 90 degree range. That is a big area when you think about it. I mean, that's anything from 20.00 all the way up to 29.99. That's virtually a 10 degree surface area on a planet. Let's hope that radius is quite small. Because Rusty, I don't know if you've actually sat there and kind of tried to search for an area on a planet. Have you kind of got close to any planets and looked at anything like that?
Yeah, well, I've flown around a few planets and I've spent a little bit of time in a buggy. Not as much as I'd like, but yeah, I can imagine even the small planets I've been around are huge.
It's surprising. Yeah, I mean, you just don't get the idea in your mind of something being one-to-one scale until you get right up close. I mean, often when you're approaching it from orbit, you see a nice little crater, and then you realise as you get closer and closer that this crater has craters inside it, and those craters are big enough to park your entire ship in and drive out of. So the sense of scale is just crazy. When you get down and you start looking, you're thinking, wow, just 1 degree over a radius like that. I mean, a 1,000-kilometer planet, it could be like 30-40 kilometers area. When you start scaling some of these planets up, you're talking a huge surface area to scan. Not to mention the fact that these barnacles that were found on Merope, you can't actually see as points of interest. You can't see from orbital cruise. You have to get down into normal flight speeds and fly, about 2 kilometers above the ground to see the things. So you're only going to go in like 300 meters per second in your ASP. It's going to take a while to search all these surfaces, I think. So if anyone does have any spare time to search for these things, please come and help the Canon group doing that, because it's going to take a while, I think. There's a bunch of ideas at what planet this is. Obviously we had so the stories are a little bit out of sync now, I think. So we got the barnacles were discovered. Oh, here we go. Ah, okay. So it has actually expanded. It's moved on since I last looked at it earlier on this afternoon. So there was this nice little news story here. The good news from Obsidian Orbital. So people have been selling the meta alloys to the station, and it's been causing the bad effects to reverse. So, scary. I'm kind of worried that something more is going on under the hood. I don't think it can all. Not that I'm all doom and gloom, but I'm just kind of looking at it and thinking, this is funny. You put one thing in there, it goes bad. You put another thing, it suddenly looks better. I think there's a lot more to it. I don't know about you, Rusty, but it just sounds a little bit.
Yes. Ominous.
Yeah, it does a little bit. Greetings to everyone who's just joined in the chat there. JMS 1979 there. Royal Hanky, greetings, Commander. Chili Wasp, greetings. Nice to see you. Yes, we found the barnacles. I'm flying right near one now. Lots of interesting developments in a short space of time. Here we go. Aha, okay, this is a momentous day. Alien structures have been confirmed on at least 2 planets in the Pleiades Nebula. There we go. So Commander Snacks has just found that there are some in Pleiades sector JC-U B3-2. So that is probably... let's go ahead and look in the map. I believe that should be quite close. You know, I've already forgotten what it said. Oh, dear. Pleiades sector. Did I say JC? There you go, JCU B30. So that's, yeah, there you go, 21.35 light years away. I've not been there yet, so let's go. Why not? Let's go there. Yes, for those of you who are asking about the barnacles, yes. Barnacles, there's the barnacles. Let me get nice and close, turn the lights on. They do glow in the dark, but unfortunately, I don't think it would be a very fun stream for me to sit here for 20 hours waiting for the planet to rotate, or whatever its orbital period is, but it will take a long time, an absolutely long time. Moose 666, yes, 80 meters per second, that's roughly 180 miles an hour. Yeah, I mean, even at the kind of speeds that a ship would do, it would still take hours and hours to scan such a vast surface area.
So have Canon Research been organising actual searches on the planets, or is it still all very ad hoc?
At the moment, it's kind of like, you know, the thread has literally, it's been stressing the servers, I think, because it has grown pages and pages in the last few days. It's been absolutely crazy. Is Commander Revian, is he in the chat there? Greetings, Commander. Yeah, the thread for the Canon group has just gone absolutely nuts over the last couple of days, and understandably so. I mean, everyone's been kind of searching for these. I've been poking in and out and kind of offering a couple of ideas and things. Let me just set my target there. And yeah, just kind of trying to help out where I can, sort of thing like that. So for them to finally be found, it's just gone nuts. But I've kind of been going in and kind of explaining to people, like, yeah, you know, if we need to start searching, we're going to have to start working together, because this is going to take a long time to do it. You know, not one person is going to be able to do this. If we kind of do like a grid search kind of thing, like they do to find things on surfaces, I think that's probably the only way we're going to be able to do it as a group.
Yeah.
Let me just catch up on the chat. We're going to know. People do run out of fuel, Mike Snoz. Yes, they do. People run out of fuel. And if that happens to you, call the fuel rats. There we go. We have fuel.
I've run out of fuel twice in my career.
Do you know? I think I did it. I did it once on my way down to the California Nebula. That was way back when in Alpha days, I think that was, and I just didn't know what else to do. I just self-destructed. There was just nothing to do back then. You know, I was like, what on earth can I do? And I just didn't think about it. And since then, I've been so careful, just planning out everything. I scoop every jump. I make sure that it doesn't happen.
Yeah, the first time I did it was about a week before 1.3 released with the limpets, and I was on my way back from Sagittarius A-star. I was about 19 Kylies out, and I was in the neutron star fields and just wasn't paying attention, just jumping neutron star to neutron star, and it was like, made a jump, couldn't make the next jump. I thought, oh, it's all right, I'll find a close scoopable, and then noticed I literally had zero fuel, none fuel at all.
God. Yeah,
it was actually a binary, and the secondary star was scoopable. It was 800 light seconds away, so I thought, well, I'll try and get there, and I fell short by 21 light seconds. It was quite frustrating at the time.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's like I said, it's back then there was literally nothing you could do. But now, thanks to the fuel rats, we've got a second chance. Nagual Elite saying that whoever made the UAs uses the barnacles. Mike Brooks mentioned something about the reason for their location is something to do with something. Any permit sectors nearby. It's all up in the air at the moment. They definitely look like the same kind of techno-organic type structures. Of course, all the UAs point to Marot. That was one of the things that was discovered early on. So people are saying that they must be linked. There must be something more to them. Let me just go ahead and spin the ship around slightly. Wow, that is a fair distance away. Might as well scan whilst I'm here. There we go. Okay, any more questions in the chat? I crit in my pants. Do the tentacles regrow so you can mine them again and again? I think if you kind of leave them and come back to the area later on, they do regrow after a few minutes, so you can technically farm them. I mean, the meta alloys are worth about 83,000 credits a ton, but I'm kind of, like I said, I'm a little bit dubious about whether or not we should be stealing the stuff and selling it back to the stations. I think there's something else going on there. So it's probably not a good idea. Moose 666 in a 2G plus world driving along the buggy. Yeah, I've done stuff like that. It's crazy. It's like it's all in sped up. It's just madness, absolute madness. Rat King is here. Greetings. Oh, and Shorty has just joined the chat. Greetings, Shorty. Now, Rusty, do you know Shorty? Have you heard of Shorty?
Yes, Shorty. I have. Yes.
Yeah, she's in the chat. How are you doing? Hopefully that little one is not causing you too much trouble. Now, we were chatting earlier on and she had to run off. It was just Grizzly in the background, bless him. Wait, Alpha, did I say Alpha? DJ Targent? Yeah, you're right. It wouldn't have been Alpha days when I went outside the bubble. It must have been as soon as the bubble opened up. As soon as it was possible, I just headed off in a straight line. I remember that. Shorty is here, yes, Shorty is here. Everyone's talking to Shorty now.
Interesting that the barnacles were first discovered the day that Distant Worlds heads off as well.
Yeah, they go off in that direction and then suddenly they're over here. Yeah, I think that was more of a case of coincidence, to be honest. Yes. But it was kind of like, yeah, that's it. We're out of here. I mean, I think it's I mean, no one's saying what they are yet. I mean, I know a lot of people are kind of guessing they're the Thargoids. I think that's the most obvious guess. I'm kind of waiting for Frontier to pull the wool over our eyes and say, trick you, it's something else, You just don't know. You don't know, do you? But it is pretty freaky. Oh, Royal Hanky, you've made 52% Ranger now. Congrats. Awesome stuff. I'm sorry, I've missed a bunch of chat. I'm just trying to catch up. Game with Ian, yes, they were starting infecting everyone. See, this is my worry, and I think they might be onto something there, Rusty. I think it's almost like you dump the UAs there, you steal them, they start causing system damage, and then we find these other things that miraculously fix them. It's almost like they wanted us to find them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. Or alien power play.
Yeah, see, yeah. I mean, that's
talking about the symbol.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, who says there is? I mean, I think David has actually gone on and said that there's other things out there besides the Thargoids. So
yeah, we all assume it's Thargoids because in some respects that's what we want, but maybe keep the Thargoids back and something else to entertain us in the interim.
I've gone to the wrong place. I thought I had. Hang on a sec. Damn it! Yes, there might be these other creatures or things out there we just don't know about. I mean, we know that from Frontier First Encounters that we were the aggressors. We started the initial fracas with the Thargoids back then. So we've only got ourselves to blame for the problems that arose from that. The other thing that David did say was the fact that it was a war to us, but for them it was a kind of a little backyard scuffle. So it's kind of scary to think how big and powerful they could actually be.
Yeah. there's vast areas of the galaxy on the far side of the core that are currently set aside as permit only, ready for future. So,
and of course the Rigor sector as well, which we all found out early on. That's a good point there from DJ Tarjan. We could test the theory, use the mycoid virus that was developed at the end of the First War, and see how they react to them. See, what I find even more scary, what if they've adapted? What if they are now immune to that? We have no defense. So, yes, even if we could do that, and how do you know INRA haven't secretly tried that? You know what I mean? There's so much stuff that could be going on in there. Oh, that's a good one there, Marty. Thank you. Galnet signal has been sent by a crashed anaconda in the Pleiades sector JC-U B321. So it's the first planet. Let's go ahead. We'll head over to the first planet. Now, I did have the coordinates up on the website. I haven't got it here at the moment. But that was one of the things that the Canon guys, I think, was sharing around the location of the anaconda. I don't have them to hand at the moment. I will try and find them as we head over there. But yeah, so they've managed to find this crashed anaconda, which put out the signal. Obviously, it's in that range, that 20 to 90 degree range on the surface of the planet there. So we'll try and get there. And whilst we're doing that, actually, I'll point out the technique that I use, at least, to kind of get orientated and find the where you are on the surface of the planet, because it is a little bit tricky trying to get your longitude and latitude, and particularly coming in from orbit, you want to try and get somewhere close to where you want to land before you start searching around. So Nighal saying, remember, the end of the war was not what we were told. The end of the war, we were told, was not actually what happened. We were lied to. Ooh, toads, yes, that's good point, Toad. If you are out near some nebula, have a poke around, see if you can see any interesting things out there. Hard to find, though, very hard to find. They tend to be in these sandy areas in the canyons and things like that at the moment, so I don't know if that's something to do with the things that they're trying to dig out. And they look like, I think it was DJ said right at the start, actually, they look like they're almost mining facilities, trying to extract resources and pull stuff out.
Oh, yeah. So my first reaction when I saw the first photos or images was that it looked like it was sort of something that was buried or growing underground.
Yeah, again, that's the freaky thing, isn't it? They don't look like that's the complete picture. It's almost the tip of the iceberg, and that was kind of my first impression when I looked at that. It's like, well, this is what we can see, but my word, what else is out there? It's a potato. It's 2 potato planets. Yay! It's my favourite kind. My favourite kind of planet. Awesome. I Critting My Pants is claiming that I'm a hostile alien sympathiser. I'm an all-living life form sympathiser. That's my problem. I don't want to fight wars with anyone. I don't want to start any problems. I just want to be friends. Let's see if we can do it. Right, so we need to get to... I need to probably get onto the opposite side of the planet here. So 20 degrees this way. So I'd get roughly in there. Let's head back a little bit. So the thing is, it's trying to find the angle that you can approach at, where one of the longitude or latitude indicators essentially stops. So there we go. So there's kind of the point of inflection is roughly in this angle here, where my longitude is almost stable. I'm sorry, this is the worst thing, Rusty. When I'm explaining this, it's kind of, you won't see it for like about 30 seconds after because of the delay. Mrs. K, greetings. You're not far from that nebula. Ecos, what's that? Fly D guy, A. There's some great names in this game. I can't pronounce that. What's that? Who's Shanray? You're 38,000 light years away on the rim in an unarmed anaconda. Yeah, I wouldn't investigate anyone in that situation. It's probably not a good idea. So we want to go to 20 degrees latitude and 90 degrees longitude approximately. We'll try and get as close as we can to that. If anyone has got the form thread, I think the Canon guys have got the exact location of the crashed anaconda. Not a chance to look for it yet. Plipe thought of the dune worms. Yeah, there is that. You have no idea what's underneath the surface. So I'm going to try and turn approximately 90 degrees now, see if I can stop my longitude from increase. Oh, there we go. So point of inflection is...
I've clearly not been playing Horizons enough. I haven't seen a planet like this yet.
Oh, this was my worry. I mean, when I first started playing in the betas, I could not find these kind of planets anywhere. And I was thinking, oh no, they've been cut at the last minute, they've been left out, or some reason they can't be shown or something like that. And I was desperately trying to find one, and then suddenly I just found loads, just all in a row. I was like, oh. And it was nothing to do with the size of the scale of the planet either, which I found quite interesting. I thought the smaller scale planets would be they would all be rocky and deformed and and all that kind of size and shape, but it's not necessarily the radius. There's a lot of different factors which kind of play into it, so it's not as easy as you think to find a potato-shaped planet. But I do like them because it really does show off the depth and scale of everything. And I'm going in the wrong direction. What am I doing? Hang on. There we go. 20 degrees. Gonna get to 2019. Thank you, Timaru Hack there. Thank you very much. The Anaconda is there. Let's take a note of that. Let's head out that way. Kerrash Landing. Heading to scary locations so you don't have to. It does. I mean, I admit, like you said, Rusty, you've not had a chance to play much on the surfaces, but being on the dark sides of some of these planets and just kind of stumbling across it, even things like the background music, it's so eerie when you're kind of just sat there on the surface of a planet. It really is like a completely different experience. Like when you're floating around in space, you just don't kind of give any credence to the fact that you're kind of out there and you're alone or anything like that. You're just kind of sightseeing and exploring and all that kind of stuff. When you get down on the surface and you're in that little SRV and it's dark and you got the freaky music kicking in the background, it makes you feel so small and vulnerable. It's just, it's a horrible, horrible feeling.
I guess being on the planet gives you that sense of scale, doesn't it, that you don't get when you're out flying.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm pretty close to the coordinates now. I'm within a degree or so. So let's go ahead and dip into glide. So I'm going to need to turn quickly because, I've gone too far this way. 21, so I'm going to have to spin around a little bit now, so it's going to take a little while to move on over. So the thing that I find a little bit frustrating is you don't get the compass indicator until you are out of orbital cruise, which is a little bit of a pain in the backside, because if you had the compass indicator, you would be able to line yourself up with the poles and go directly 0 to go north and 90 degrees to go east, and it would be nice and easy to find coordinates. But unfortunately, you don't get that until you're on ground speed, so you have to kind of at least get close by kind of, like I was doing, kind of flying along, finding that position where the longitude indicator stops going up, or the latitude indicator stops going up, finding that point where it settles and going straight along in a line to do that. So let's see if we can get there now. 20.87 I need first, so let's get that angle right. Let's get that coordinate, I should say. DJ Tarjan, that is a good point. The last bit of information we had on the Thargoids was in Frontier First Encounters in 3255. The Thargoids requested access to visit the ice world of Merlin, which we know is on Ross 154, not very far from Earth at all. So, am I going to go the right direction now? It's just... That's counting down. Yes, I need to count down a little bit. Right, so let's go 27 degrees. That's due west. And let's just a little bit further south, so we can start ticking away at the longitude indicator on there. What other things we've got in there?
It does look awesome being down near the planet with the nebula in the background.
Oh, again, it's one of those things I've noticed as well, is that on the dark side, I think I was near the Witch Head Nebula, and on the dark side of the planet, oh, there it is. I think I spotted it. On the dark side of the planet, the nebula rise that the devs have talked about before, it is absolutely stunning. When that light goes down and you're suddenly in pitch black, and then it all kind of starts, the exposure adjusts on the ship and everything, and then suddenly you realise that you've got that kind of blue glow to it and everything. It is really, really awesome. It's so cool.
I've been right out on the very, very far distant rim. Although I haven't got SRVs, I could still try and land on a planet, but in my shieldless T6, I don't really want to take the risk.
No, that might be a little bit risky. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I kind of learned early on with the beta of Horizons is that suddenly, as an explorer, you need shields again, because if you're going and trying to land on these surfaces, you can't avoid hull damage without shields, which is, it was kind of, at first I thought it was disappointing, but then as I kind of played around with it a little more, I thought, well, it's better to have a ship which is more balanced like that. If you go out there, completely maximized for jump range, you are really setting yourself up for for all of the problems you're going to face out there. So probably best to have some shields.
Yes. Well, I set out in November on this trip, so I decided I wanted to get out here and back before Distant Worlds. So I'm only launching the 1.5 rather than Horizons to avoid the temptation of even going near a planet.
That's probably best. Yeah, that's probably best. As soon as you see that little blue indicator come up, you think, "Oh, shall I?" But no, it's it is cool though. I mean, it does add so much more depth to the game.
Ooh.
Absolutely. Crikey. It still blows me away every time you see like the scale of one of these ships. Like I said, inside an SRV, you feel so small and insignificant, and when you get up close to one of these ships and you realise how large they are, it's just insane. It's crazy. Oh. 7. What have we landed on? We've landed on some wreckage. Whoops. Sorry. That's. Oh, we're stuck. There we go. So we found the crashed Anaconda. Have we got anything we can scan now? We've got a cargo rack. Might as well go and have an investigate on that. What's the first thing you do with the cargo rack? Of course, blow it up. It is one of those unfortunate kind of telltale things of humans, isn't it? It's like if you can't talk to it, you can't eat it, shoot it.
Shoot it.
Lots of signals coming over here. We've got lots of canisters. Any of these things actually responding? We've got our cargo racks. I'm not sure what the next thing is supposed to be after this. I mean, it was. Oh, I can actually data link scan the cargo rack. Is that correct? Nothing interesting there, just some ruthenium. Oh, that's the first time I found that. Grade 4 material. Awesome. Bonus. Don't think there's anything else. Oh, what's this over here? Looks like there's a little... something is showing up on the scanner is targetable. Can I actually do anything with it? Don't seem to at the moment. No, just another cargo rack. Interesting stuff. Shanray saying, if I see an alien pilot in a reclined chair and a foggy basement run. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I said, it's these things which are starting to introduce into the game now. It does kind of freak you out a little bit. It is a completely different feeling to the game. It's been so quiet and not really anything happening for so long, and then suddenly you've got all this activity going on. Can we do anything at all? I don't know. There's no active data links on the ship. It's not responding to anything. I'm not sure. Max Ursa, yes, absolutely. Investigation. Does it talk? Does it move? Poke it. Hit it. Eat it. Absolutely. it is kind of telltale to the human condition, isn't it? It's like, you know, as much as we act like adults, we end up doing exactly what babies would do: stick it in our nose, you know, bash it on the floor. I'm not getting any signals. I'm actually genuinely nervous as I approach the cockpit glass on here. It's like I'm expecting something to pop out of the, you know, a hand of a human to hit the cockpit glass or something, like, oh! It's freaky. Yeah, I'm not sure what else we can do there now. I don't know if the Canon group have uncovered the next part of the mystery yet, but it's all starting to heat up, isn't it? Oh, sorry, we better catch up the quest. Sorry, Rusty, go ahead, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, was this? So you found this from the Galnet News?
Yes. So this, another one of those reasons why it's really important to keep an eye on these things. Actually, just after the barnacles were found, we had that little news story pop up. Which was, here we go, unidentified signal in the Pleiades Nebula, which had this little indicator on here which said binary planet and had a rough longitude and latitude. Now, people have managed to uncover that literally in probably less than 24 hours since that news story went up. So the question is now, what's going to come from this? We found this. We found the signal now. What is the next part of the story? That is the question. See, I've got these signals from here, but none of them seem to be. I don't really want to shoot everything I can't do anything with, but kind of at a loss of what to do next, so I guess I'm going to have to shoot it, aren't I? What do you reckon? We'll leave it up to the chat. We'll go over the next couple of things in the newsletter, and I'll leave it in the chat. So say shoot or leave, and we'll leave it to the chat. We'll do a quick straw poll. Let's go ahead and get the newsletter. There we go, newsletter. So yes, of course, as you can imagine, the newsletter is all about the barnacles this week. That is the headline that we've been talking about. And that's it there. For anyone who did miss the start of this stream, I was right next to the barnacles. Shoot it. Yeah, so the barnacles are the next part in the big storyline. Everyone's guessing there about the Thargoids, but we just don't know yet. We don't know. It is all unfolding as we speak. And the great thing about the Horizons update is it's all the background things that the guys have done. It's not just the landing on planets. Of course, they've made all these background changes so they can start to accelerate the progress of these kind of stories and giving us these interesting things to do, which is cool. Lots of shoot it. Can you even target it? Lobster King is saying there. Can you target it? What does it say? How do you connect to a data link? So normally, if you have something on the ground which you can target, you can press the secondary fire on the SRV, and you can scan it and try and get some data from it if it is some artificial source with some form of computer or something in it. So there is the possibility of doing it. Funny enough, you can scan the spikes around the barnacles, which are, if we go back up, these little green things in the background here, you can scan them, but they don't do anything. So I don't know what it's about. There's a better picture of the barnacles there. Some great pictures from all the commanders. Now, of course, it was a hot spot of activity yesterday. Everyone was just right in that area. Everyone was going around, like, you know, poking and prodding them, shooting them, trying to figure out what we can do with them. Thank you, Saturnine. Yeah, there's a link to the newsletter there, so you can all read along. Bubble, thank you. He's put up a straw poll there. Go on, let's see if I can get the straw poll up. Let's have a look at what the results are. Everyone, go ahead and click that straw poll there, link from Bubble, and we'll see. Shoot it or leave it. Let's have a see. See what everyone says.
I think I can put money on the result.
I think so, yeah. I think so. Yeah. Impassive Killjoy, greetings, Commander. Thanks for joining in tonight. Elaborate. Interesting, the barnacles appear in fixed location. I thought they might be random spawns like the majority of other points of interest. So I can give a little bit of insight into that. And Michael has said that they are both. So this is one of the... This one that was found was one of the ones that was placed. It's not one of the randomly, the procedurally generated ones that show up as a point of interest. This was why he was kind of surprised that this was the one that was found first, and not one of the ones that could appear as part of just the the procedural generation on the background there. So yeah, this is a placed barnacle you're seeing on the screen, but there are point of interest ones around. There are other ones there. Oh. Lave radio, that's Psycho Cow. Greetings, Commander. I don't know why your message just got deleted there. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, look at it, 25 votes. Shoot it! Shoot it! Okay, let's see if we can shoot it. Honestly, I don't know. I don't even know what I can select to target. Can we break these canisters open? Nope, the canisters aren't registering as targets I can select. Question is, what is inside these canisters? These don't look like regular cargo canisters. That's the freaky thing. You know, they look like there's something else going on inside these. Almost guarantee everyone was going to say shoot it, couldn't you? I mean, that was pretty much a given, wasn't it? It's just human nature. So each one of these, I think each one of these canisters is showing up as a signal. But I can't seem to do anything with them now. Nope. Sorry folks, shoot it does nothing. So the question is, what on earth is this crash site about? Does beg the question, doesn't it? So we've got a little bit of wreckage, we've got an anaconda, we've got a whole bunch of cargo canisters that are not your bog standard average cargo canisters.
Yeah, Laverick says, don't shoot it, read it Vogan poetry.
Yeah, oh. Give it a slow, painful death.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, goodness knows what those things are all about. I'm getting to the point now where I just want to get the heck out of Dodge. I'm getting a little bit nervous about what this whole storyline is going, where, what's going to happen. No, Max Ursa, no escape pods, no other things out there I can see. Pappy55, it's the Thargoids. It's got to be the Thargoids. I think everyone's assuming it is at the moment, aren't they?
It would be nice if it wasn't in some respects.
Yeah, I mean,
something new.
Yeah, I think I've got the distinct impression that Frontier are going to surprise us, and it is going to be something different. I don't think it's going to be the Thargoids as we know them. I don't know what it could be, but I think there is more to it. I don't think it's as simple as what we all think and hope that it is. This definitely looks like a beat-up anaconda, doesn't it? There's no signs of life inside the cockpit. No indication of what this thing is. Don't know what these canisters are. It's kind of freaky.
Wouldn't it be good if you could actually land an anaconda like that buried into the sand as a stop?
That would be awesome, actually. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
It would be
reverse thrusters to get out.
Yeah, or it'd be nice to kind of end up in that situation where that kind of thing could happen to you, and you have to call or just put out your distress beacon and stuff. I mean, it's all a possibility in the future, of course. That's the cool thing. Are there any more? There's rock fragments, but there's nothing else. There's no trail of debris. It's just that one tiny piece of debris there. I'm half expecting there to be a crashed alien ship over the edge of the canyon or something like that. Something it was fighting with that caused the incident in the first place. But I'm going to leave this up to the people that are doing the science at the moment. I'll leave that up to the Canon group. They've done some fantastic stuff. Literally, like I said, in 24 hours they have done so much work to find this sort of stuff. And I don't fancy being anywhere near human space if people are prodding and poking and shooting these things. I don't want any of the blame, so I'm getting the heck out of here.
Yeah, maybe I won't rush back from the far rim.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll tell you
here,
what, we'll pick a location somewhere in the middle of where you are, Rusty, and we'll meet up and never mind the rest of civilization. Let's leave it to them. So
although I think someone hinted that the Distant Worlds expedition may find something on their travels as well. From remembering the early thread, there was some kind of incentive to get as many people on it as possible to almost release or trigger some kind of event or thing that they'll find.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's something that I think Michael Brooks was really, really pleased to get that kind of element of the game in, because, you know, he's a storyteller at the end of the day, you know, writing one of the novels and everything, and he really wants to have those tools in there to start telling the story. And I think with Horizons there was that, like I said, there was all these background updates that allow them to put these special placed objects in the game and start to inject more of these storylines and these events that trigger other storylines and that kind of thing. So yeah, there's some freaky stuff that is coming down the line now that we've started to peel back the layers and start digging underneath. So
Excellent.
But for me, that's all too scary. I'm not into horror games, so I'm getting the heck out of Dodge. So like I said, I think I mentioned this right at the start, I've never been to Rigel, I've never been to that star, so I need to correct that. Hopefully I can get there. It's only 600 light years. I mean, that's nothing, is it, Rusty?
Oh no, it's just around the corner.
Yeah, you do that in an afternoon, it's fine. So I might as well honk and jump as I go along. What's that, DJ Targent? Mr. Brooks likes HP Lovecraft. He does. He is a big fan of all things Cthulhu. In fact, there's a bit of a Cthulhu thing that goes on in the office, actually. It's between him and I think Adam Woods. He's constantly toying with his mind, I think. It's good fun. Lots of little post-it notes and things, little Cthulhus appearing on his desk and things. Oh, I haven't been exploring in so long. Feels good to get out and do something like this. So let's go ahead and scan that. Whilst that's loading up, let's jump back to the newsletter. Yes, this is a really important thing, and I want to make a big shout out to everyone at FDev this week. 1.4 million commanders out there. That is crazy. We've suddenly gone, I mean, there was that big jump from last year. Obviously Horizons hit. The last report that we had was somewhere around the 850, 900,000 commanders. It's now jumped all the way up to 1.4 million. So that's absolutely awesome. Right on. That's to everyone.
An incredible number.
It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, you know, you hear the things sometimes when people are asking, oh, is it, you know, it seems dead out there. It's like, yeah, space is big. Really, really big. You just can't get your head around it. You know, I've been in a location where there's a popular event and there's lots of things going on. Yeah, you get to see lots of players. You tend to see many people around. But the thing is, when you go out from the void, you're not going to see many people on there. So even with 1.4 million people flying it, if everyone logged on at the same time of day and started playing and you know, happily kind of went to you know, to the latest locations, you're still not going to see that many people around, to be honest. So yeah, it's really awesome they've managed to hit that number. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, when I flew out here, I flew 75,000 light years, and I think I saw 2 systems that had previously been tagged.
Yes.
Just goes to show how vast and ridiculously big the galaxy is.
It's just mind blowing. You just can't comprehend it at all. And you know, you go around the bubble and you kind of see some places. You tend to see lots of places already discovered and stuff like that. But you know, when you start going out a few thousand light years and you realise like, it's nothing. You have these huge, vast areas where no one has been there before. Literally, no one has discovered it, and it's just. I mean, I love that feeling now. It's awesome. That's one of the things I loved in the original games, but it was very hard to do that kind of thing. You know, even though it was you could explore around in Frontier Elite 2, you didn't really have that kind of sense that it was unexplored once you got, because you had those problems with the drive would kind of malfunction and stuff like that, so you couldn't be self-sufficient. Now that you've got that kind of freedom that you have in the in Elite Dangerous, you've really kind of can do anything you want, which is really awesome. You get that real sense of you being a genuine trailblazer almost, which is really cool. Yeah,
definitely.
I created my pants. I don't know the figures of the how the breakdown on those figures are. It's hard to say. I mean, there could be that there's several people that have got multiple accounts as well. I mean, I've got 2 accounts here anyway, so there is a possibility of duplication of accounts and stuff like that, which is fair enough. But they are unique commander logons at least anyway. So still, that is a big number. For, you know, I mean, it is pretty much when you think about it, it is a niche genre. For it to suddenly jump up like that, it goes to show that these kind of expanding the game into these different ways, these different kind of things, the whole landing on the planets and stuff like that, it really does kind of start to appeal to a broader audience. And I'm really thinking that, like, the whole FPS style of thing, it is an important step that I'm hoping the game moves over into that in Season 3, because I think that's going to be a really, really, really big boost to it. Any more questions we've got coming in? Tankaro 2015, greetings, Commander. Do you think that the simulation will start pushing settlements past the current boundaries? Yes, absolutely. This was something you might have missed in last week. Last week we covered Michael Brooks' dev notes. One of the things he mentioned was that there was 2 words in the dev note that caught my eye, and my eyes just lit up. Was the possibility of automated colonization? Yay! Because I have wanted that since way back in the day of the original game. I was always kind of felt like it was unfortunate that the galaxy wasn't dynamic and it didn't change once, the frontier never pushed out. But with Horizons coming along now, they've opened up all this background stuff which allows them to do that kind of thing. So they're going to be able to do more of that. Exactly like you said there, they can start to use those tools to push out the boundaries of the frontier and start to build settlements. Now, naturally, it makes sense if you're going out and exploring space that, it's really difficult to set up a space station somewhere, so you're probably going to start doing small settlements, that kind of thing, and then start to build them up into bigger and bigger boundaries. So, it's coming, I know it is. Enshiv, greetings, Commander. You've been away from Elite since Christmas Eve. What have you missed? So much. Let's just bring that back up for your benefit on the newsletter here. Let's go back up on there. The barnacles have been found. So the next phase of the storyline of the unknown artifacts is discovered what some people are saying is kind of like a refinery, or maybe even some kind of industrial facility which creates the unknown artifacts of unknown origin. Definitely alien though. And as we were just saying, Elite Dangerous has hit 1.4 million commanders, which is crazy. It's crazy good.
1.4 million commanders explains why we're doing 50 to 60 rescues a day then.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's the background numbers which kind of hold true for the game. A lot of people say this, like, it doesn't seem like there's many new players, and I hear those kind of things all the time. It's like, yeah, it's kind of the day-to-day experience I see of things like on the forums, on the Facebook groups and things like that. That says the complete opposite. It says that there's loads of new players coming in every day. We're seeing more and more of the same old questions being asked, if it will. It's like, where's this button? Where's that option? It just shows that there are loads of players out there still that are discovering the game, which is really, really great. I mean, I've said that right from the very, very beginning. I grew up playing games on the NES and the consoles and things like that. I had no idea what space simulation games were until I stumbled across Frontier on the Amiga, and I absolutely loved it. So there are bound to be players out there that would love this kind of game but just aren't aware of it, and it's really nice to see it's getting out to people and they're discovering the game.
I guess things like this recent Steam sale at this overall sale at sort of £10 opens the game up to those sorts of players who want to take that risk at £10.
Yeah, exactly. And people kind of they get that introduction to it and like, wow, this game has got so much to it, and there's so many different ways you can play it and things like that, and then they kind of realise that this is something that I can really invest some time in, which is really, really nice. Diesel 037 there. There's an article in Time magazine about how many players are. Nice, excellent. Awesome. 1.5 million. Wow, it's 1.4 in the newsletter. I mean, it might have gone up since, which is cool. It's nice to see. Tankero, you love people on stream doing their first takeoff in docking tests. We have all been there. We have all been at those first attempts. Yes, it's painful, but you've got to learn. You've got to get your wings. I have. Well, you can see by my name, I have made many failed attempts at landing and taking off. But it's great to see so many new people coming in. I mean, and just the fact that there are player groups like the Fuel Rats and things like that, they just want to help other players get into the game and teach them the things of the game. I think that's the lovely thing about the community. It really, really is awesome. That's the reason I started Kerrash Landing. there was no one streaming Elite, and I thought I need to do something to help people understand the game, because I saw a lot of frustration on the forums. You know, people not knowing basic things, basic operational things on the ship, where options were and things like that, and that's what I wanted to do. Lobster King, your 7-year-old did the docking tutorial yesterday without a hitch. Congrats, yeah. I mean, my little boy, he's 8, he's got his own account, we've been doing trading back and forth. He absolutely loves it, and he just blows me away. We went to Gamescom with the guys at Frontier, and the boys come along, and we sat them down and got them on the machine, and he was just like zip zip zip, and Zach was just kind of stood behind the things like, oh. It's just like, I can't even do that. Which it's nice. It's nice to see, you know, the new generation picking it up and enjoying the game. I think that's the that's the nice thing about it, actually, is realizing that, you know, kids can enjoy this. I mean, it is a complicated game, but if you're willing, if you've got that kind of that mentality, that drive, you want to know how to do something, I think you can, if you stick with it. The learning curve is a brick wall, we all know that, but once you get up there and you see what's in front of you, what the possibility is, you realise how awesome the game can be. Orange sheets, nice, yes, nice Blade Runner reference.
It's Commander Orange Sheets of the Fuel Rats.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he's overseer in the RISC chat rooms. So, greetings, Orange Sheets.
Fellow rat on board. Thank you for joining in tonight. Snork IP. Am I using a hottest? Yes, I am using. I'm going to destroy the table if I do that. I'm using the X52 Pro. Yes, as Gaming with Ian is saying there. I started off with the Xbox pad. Got the X52 Pro, and I've never looked back. It's an awesome stick. Although I do find the pad. See, I have got the pad configured for the SRV. I just find it just so much more intuitive to use a joypad for the SRV. But yeah, it's. I mean, it's great that it's configurable, though. I mean, you can set it up any way you want. Just using the mouse on the turret on the SRV is good as well. What's that? Game with Ian. Where can we get this shirt? Yes. I'm just come up into camera view. Yes. I don't have my own T-shirt brand, but if I did, yeah. I had this one done, but I wasn't happy with the colour reproduction on it, so I was going to set up one of these little shops so that people could buy a Kerrash Landing t-shirt, and I've still not done that yet. I know, I'm letting the site down. But if there is interest in something like that, I will gladly try and get some things created for everyone, if they want genuine Kerrash Landing merch. If there's a need, then I will try to get that sorted. What's this? Will they lead to Tannhauser Gate? Yes. Royal Hanky, is there a way to find out what your first discoveries are? No, unfortunately. It's one of these things that I found, which was a bit of a shame, actually. See, I mean, right back from when the game first went live, 38 Omicron Persei, that was a location that I discovered. It was one of the first places I went to. As soon as we could get out of the bubble and explore, this was where I went. And I discovered this, first discovered by me. Now, I know that because it's stuck in my mind. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a way of searching for it, which is a real shame, because, you know, unless you've taken a note of all of the places you've been to, there's no way you're going to remember the hundreds of planets that you first discovered. The Kerrash Landing mug. That's a very good point, Moose. Maybe I need to at least get a couple of those made, and of course I will have to send one to Mr. Lewis for his fantastic mug collection. Maybe that's something I can sort out very soon. That's a good idea. I will do my best to sort that out. Absolutely, a mug, I think, is the best form of merch you can get. Fireweed Toad, what do you say? Oh, no, it's not a question. What's the question for Tankro? See, this is the wonderful thing. The chat's just helping each other out. This is great. This is what I mean. The community is so awesome, helping each other out. Mug. No more mugs. No, see, Psycho Cat, you were the first person I was going to ask when I, you know, I was like, who should I go to get mugs manufactured? So, sorry. We need more mugs. We absolutely need more mugs. Yes, listen to Fiery Toad. Fiery Toad is the sage that I go to for advice. So if you want to know how to play the game, Fiery Toad is your man. If you don't already follow him, click his name, follow him. He's awesome. So let's jump back. There's a couple more things in the newsletter I want to bring up now. I think we did mention it briefly, but the Distant Worlds expedition has kicked off now. So hundreds of commanders are heading out into the void to do this, to follow in the footsteps. So I think now, Rusty, are you getting involved with this, or are you kind of you're out there in the black anyway at the moment, aren't you?
I'm just out here anyway. I've arranged to meet up with them on my way back, so Eramis has kindly agreed to add me to the private group so I can hook up at one of their meetups.
Awesome.
So no, I wanted to get out here and explore 65k before the masses arrived. So,
no, I think
the tourist buses, as I've been calling it.
Well, I think it was Eramis was the first commander to reach the 65,000 light year mark, which is,
yes,
I mean, that's some crazy distance. I don't think it shows up on the map yet, though. It's got a name that the community refers to it, but I don't think it's actually
Beagle Point.
Beagle Point, yeah, but I don't think
it's not on the map. I can't. It's one of those horrendous catchy names.
Yeah, it's one of these ones which is way out here. But yeah, the 65,000 light years from Earth Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, there's been a bit of a petition to try and get them to rename it, or at least make it so you can search for it in the Gal map. But
yeah. Maybe I should have a chat with someone, see if we can get that sorted. But yeah, I think that is an awesome thing that everyone's heading out there now. But of course, this time now with Horizons, everyone's going to be visiting various planets on the way and finding cool things. And of course, like you said right at the start as well, there's that permitted region. Do you know that off the top of your head, actually, that permitted region on the other side of the galaxy?
It is pretty much due north of the core, so if you go up the zero line, and it's just at the sort of edges of the core from memory.
Yeah, I think you're right. The high PUA, you kind of hit that region, don't you? And then suddenly it's you can't select any of the stars because it's all permitted off.
Yeah, somewhere around there, roughly.
Yeah. I think I did find it by accident one time before. I was just kind of like scanning all over the galaxy map, and I found these regions. I was like, why is there a permit this far out? Yeah. And then of course your brain starts kind of ticking over. You're like, oh, and then even like the Rigor sector, and you kind of look at the scale of that and how much of that region is permitted off. It puts the habitable bubble into perspective. It's like, there's some scary things out there that I don't want to be anywhere near when things kick off.
Yes. It'd be weird having the galaxies a more populated place as you fly around, not just with humans and NPCs, but aliens.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, it's one of the things I said to David that the thing that I enjoyed the most about Frontier Elite 2 is the kind of the constant apprehension, the feeling that there might be something else out there, even though that, I mean, even he knew that technically you would never meet another Thargoid flying around in Frontier Elite 2. There were the couple of crashed ones on things like is it Wolf 780, Planet Number 7? I think. I'm so sad that I still remember that from 20 years ago when I was a kid. But yeah, there was a couple of crashed Thargoid ships, but you would never actually meet any. And I said to him that, you know, I always kind of I preferred that idea that it wasn't like other sci-fi franchises where there's always a kind of like, you know, like Star Trek and Star Wars, there's all these different alien species walking around in amongst the humans, and, you know, no one bats an eyelid at it. It's like everyone's just assuming everyone's roughly humanoid and everyone can talk English miraculously and all that. No babelfish involved at all. But yeah, I mean, I always appreciated that idea in Frontier Elite 2, that it was kind of they're there, but you never see them. It's kind of that mystery, you know, underneath the surface. So it's, you know, the idea that they're going to appear again, it's really got me on the edge of my seat, sort of thing.
Well, if they do appear, I may even have to start carrying shields when I'm out exploring.
this was the thing. I was specking up my ass before I decided to come out for a little bit of exploration, and I kind of got it from maximum jump range, and I thought, well, I need an SRV now as well, so I'll have to lose a little bit there. And then I just started thinking to myself and thinking, well, yeah, I'm gonna need to put something on here to defend myself because stuff is coming, and I don't want to be anywhere near it. Did he? What's that? I crit in my pants. That is a very good question. Can FD hide things from data miners? Now, one of the things that did crop up early on was the someone found in the files. I think it was barnacle spikes, large spikes, small spikes, barnacle seeds. Someone dug around in the files on the client and started posting them up on various external boards and things like that. Now, we do what we can on the forums to try and keep that to a minimum so people don't see those kind of things, not because we're being jerks and we're trying to stop people talking about it, but because it's a bit unfair. If people are poking around in the game files, it's a bit of spoiler, really. But those are the only kind of things that people can do if they start digging around and trying to find these stuff. That's the only thing that people can do. The great thing about the way the architecture of the game is set up is the background simulation, everything running on the servers, means that they can eject events in, like the Galnet news articles and stuff like that. They can trigger these events so that they only spawn, they only appear after certain triggers have happened. So, like the anaconda on the crashed planet that I just left from, I don't think it would have appeared until that barnacle event was spawned, so that someone's actually triggered that next part of the story, the next part of the story. So the servers are still effectively in control of the story elements, which I think is a clever way of doing it, so you can effectively have this MMO, but without people being able to dig too much into the story. Sorry, I've waffled on for a little bit now. Sporkip, I'm heading to Rigel because I have never been to that star, and it's somewhere I've always wanted to go. It's one of the supergiant stars that humans know
about. I've visited nearly 20,000 systems now, and there's still hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of stars that I actually still want to go and visit, and black holes and all sorts of things. I've still not seen the Great Annihilator, and I've been to Sagittarius A star 7 times.
7 times? Oh my goodness. I've visited just over 5,000 systems, so that pales in comparison. But yeah, I mean, luckily I was on my way back from Sag A, and I heard someone talking about the Great Annihilator, and I was just like, where is this? Where is this? And I was a few hundred light years to the side of it. I was like, I've got to make a detour. I've got to go over there and do it. But yeah, I'm glad I got there.
Yeah, it's on my list for the way back on this trip. But then I've said that every time, and there's always something else that's come up, and I've missed it. So maybe next time. You never know.
Yeah, like you said, there are so many great things out there. I mean, there's so many natural things. Unfortunately, there's some places which are natural occurrences which you just can't reach. They're too far outside of the range of any ship. I'd love to get to them, but you just can't get to them. But yeah, there are so many cool places you can reach those. So yeah, I've got in true elite fan style, I literally have a list here that I'm going down on paper. You've got to have a pen and paper. You've got to have all these
pen
things
and paper.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. You're not an old school elite player unless you have pen and paper to hand.
Well, in the early days, I used to write down all the systems I first found, but that got a bit unwieldy. So
I can imagine with 20,000, you'd need an entire tome just to store those on there. Edith the Hutt, sorry, that's a good question from what we were saying earlier on. What would have happened if the barnacle discovery hadn't been publicly announced on Twitch and the forums? Frontier would still have known that someone had found them, because what happens is the game can trigger the fact that the game is effectively poking up onto the servers all the time and asking for information. As soon as that server got the request for the barnacle things, that someone had arrived in there and found it and got within a range to kind of identify it and interact with it, Frontier would have known that the barnacles have been found. Now, it may not have blown up. If someone decided to find the barnacles and kept it quiet, then Frontier might have put a different storyline up on there. to say that there's been some strange reports of something happening in the area, but no further detail because no one's sharing any details of it, which I think is the cool thing. So, just to give a little bit of information into it, the way that Frontier have set these things up is they've actually written multiple storylines in parallel, and until we hit key events, they don't know which route we're going to go down. So they've got a set of storylines planned about a month in advance for each possible outcome. And then depending on how we as a player base react to these various events and all, different storylines can play out. And I think that's really cool that they're listening to everything that's going on in the background, which is cool. Gamora, we need a small explorer ship that naturally gives good jump range rather than have to strip it down. The DBX is good for that, but I mean the whole idea of the customization is you can get more jump range. I mean, when you look at the base ships, like the Aspects and the DBX, they do have good jump range on the base ships. The fact that you can kind of max them out by tweaking your ship just shows that they are, the best at what they do. The whole min-maxing thing is kind of on top of the abilities of the ships, really. Fiery Toad, I need a ship's log. Yes. Funny you should say that. I think you have a link to talking about that, don't you, Mr. Toad? Isn't it HDS Void Pact working on a ship's log? Which does sound really cool, actually. The fact that you can just keep notes and things, but with the voice interaction on your system. I think that's really, really cool. So you can keep track of things. Crash Tankro saying that. What about the Antares? Antares. I've got it written down there. That's one of the ones. Antares A. I've got that underlined there. End shifts. So if people start shooting the barnacles first, will it be bad? Might be. Crash says as he jumps the heck away from the system. Yeah, I mean, you've got to go back to the original games to kind of understand some of this, but when you look at everything that happened in the earlier games, we were the aggressors. We started the war by invading Thargoid space. And everyone remembers it as the Thargoids were attacking us. Now, the Thargoids were trying to kick us out of their backyard. We were effectively, jumping into their area and causing all sorts of trouble. And as humans do, that's what we tend to do. We invade other people's spaces. In this case, literally. So we were the aggressors. We started the problems between the Thargoids in the previous years. So their patience is only going to wear so thin, I think. Beerers, and is it you've already shot a barnacle? Oh, Beerers, and you gave me the link. Thank you very much. The name of the system. There we go. Beagle Point. Yes, we need to get that renamed. That is a fair distance away. Look at that. 65,823 light years away. That is absolutely ridiculous. That is crazy. And the mad thing is there are still more stars further out. There's this G-class star, which is just too far. It's just outside of the jump range. What I'll be interested to see, actually, Rusty, is when people get out there, if they've gathered enough materials to do a boost jump and reach even further still, whether it would be possible.
Yeah, so Commanders Erimus and I can't remember how to pronounce his name, Altnil, who had the previous long distance record at Treehouse, came straight out as soon as Horizons released with enough materials to do some boosted jumps, and they've now extended the further. They've now, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but they've gone even further. It's just, it's awesome. Quite insane.
Awesome. Man.
So they raced back as well. I think the fastest out there was to get out to the 65k line was something like 48 hours or something bonkers like that. Flight time.
That's crazy. That's crazy. It's so huge though. I mean, the scale of it is absolutely enormous, and I love when you get out to the really really low density regions of the galaxy, and you start to see these. There's still more stars. No matter how far you go out, you still keep seeing stars on it, which is awesome.
Well, I kept going down the outer rim as far as I could, so going back on myself, sort of heading west, and I got to about minus 3,800. Sort of in the west direction before I couldn't jump any further, but then I've only got just over 30 light year range in this T6.
Still, that's pretty good for a
So,
T6, though. That's pretty good.
Yep, it's pretty
yeah.
stripped down.
But it is crazy. I mean, when you look at, I mean, if I turn all of the star types on for a second, and we see that, I mean, this is a fairly dense region of space, but if you start going, like, down, for example, it starts to thin out, and then you get to these regions where there's no way you can reach these stars, but they still keep going. I mean, if you...
Yeah.
I mean, like this one here, this HD 14002, it is so far removed. There is no way you could jump. It literally is hundreds of light years below the galactic disk. You just would not be able to reach it. It's absolute mad. But the fact that the game is actually creating those things, it just leaves so much scope for the future. I mean, perhaps in seasons to come we end up with FSD drives which have double the range by default or something like that, just to kind of expand the game even further. There's so much potential.
Is an HD, is that one of the real stars?
That is one of the named stars. Yeah, that is actually a real star, which has been added into the game. So, and that, see, as me as an explorer, that irritates me because like I see that and it's like I want to go there and catalogue it, but I can't reach the damn thing, which is so frustrating. Spore Kip, yeah. Sorry, I'm heading to Rigel. There you go.
On my rescue last night, as I was getting closer, I could see a big cluster of A-class stars in the distance, and whilst I want to get my second account back into the bubble because that's where it's meant to live, I'm looking at all those stars thinking, well, it won't take me long to get there and start scanning them, and lots and lots of shinies.
Yeah, there's so many nice things you can find out there. There you go. A couple of things I've missed on the chat. I just want to scroll back up a little bit. Sergeant Slap there, are there comets in the game? Comets are calculated, the mass of comets are calculated, their orbits of where they should be and all that kind of thing are in there. Currently they don't have a visual representation in the game, so you might see a couple of strange systems where there's a station that apparently orbiting nothing. It's because the comets aren't rendered yet. But Michael Brook wants to get those things in there, and I know David is a big fan of the scientific accuracy, so they want to get them in there. Sorry, I'm really far behind on the chat, I'm sorry. Fuel scooping complete. Thank you, Arakai there. The permitted sectors are the Blee A and Blee A2 sectors behind the core. Make a note of that. I'm going to head up on there. When we're NZ, you've got a link on there. What's this one? Oh, you've got it. You've got the 65,000 light year from Soul Club. Thank you. Sorry, catching up on all the stuff here. Spork Ip, you're correct. Yes, it is theoretically possible to fly between the stars without jumping, but the system won't get loaded in until you trigger a jump. It is a known thing in there. Way back in Alpha, I think it was possible to travel between the systems without jumping, but they ended up removing it because they're just the probability that someone would do it was so low. It wasn't any point. They could add it back in, but at the moment you have to make a jump. What you can do is a nice little kind of addition to that is effectively, if something is a fraction of a light year outside of your jump range, you could travel towards it a little bit and then make a jump, and that does actually work. So if something's, your jump range was 22 light years and something was 22.1 light years, you could travel that 0.1 light year in Supercruise and then make that jump to the system. That does actually work. So technically it's possible. They could bring that back in.
By depleting your fuel tank to reduce your overall weight, it allows you to jump further than your maximal jump distance, which gets a bit scary. But,
it is, it's risky. I mean, the mass of the fuel is taken into account with how much you can jump. So, there is that.
And as Firetoad says, if you try doing super cruising between stars, you run out of fuel, and you'll be amazed how many rescues we have that are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of light seconds from the arrival star. People trying to do that.
I wouldn't even attempt to do that without a full tank of fuel first. I mean, once you've done the hut and run a couple of times, you realise that you need a full tank of fuel to get there. You don't want to be running out halfway.
I think the very first ever Fuel Rat official rescue was made by Commander and Uranium, who I saw was in chat earlier. I think he travelled 0.15 light years in Supercruise to get to the stranded commander.
dear.
which I think did quite a number to his hull integrity on his Python at the time.
Yeah, that's the only problem. There's a lot of downsides of actually doing that. Is you don't want to be traveling in Super Cruise too long. Game with Ian, I think it was an adder. Oh my goodness, it was so long ago I travelled to Sajay. I'm pretty sure it was an adder I did it in. I was thinking a hauler because you get pretty good jump range weight for weight, but I just made enough money to get in an adder, so I thought, I'll do it then. That was a long time ago I did that. My goodness.
Sad to say, but I think I remember you being in an adder doing that.
that was a long time ago, but yeah. AT God Elite, the GD219, you can't plot a course to it, assuming this is because your Sidewinder doesn't have enough jump range. Where is that, actually? Let's have a quick look. Are you somewhere near the bubble? You must be. Yeah, you're near named systems on there. Yeah, the if you can't plot a course, if you've just started the game, then you will have a very limited jump range on your ship. You have to kind of do local missions first, or work on the commodity market, do some of the smaller things first, and then you'll work your way up to bigger ships or better hardware. That's the first thing you should do. Is instead of jumping for the biggest ship you can afford to get, is kind of slowly build up the ship that you have, upgrade the modules, and then you can start to jump to these bigger locations. Royal Hanky said, no, it wasn't an adder, it was a subtractor. Yes, DJ Tarjan, yeah, we are digressing because there's so much cool stuff to talk about tonight. We've gone over the... Yes, okay, let's get back to the newsletter then, as I'm jumping around. A mention of the settlement assaults, which is a new element which is added in of Horizons, which I think we've all tried that by now. I don't know if you've had a chance to try that, Rusty?
Sorry, I missed that.
The one of the new features in Horizons is the ability to mount assaults on settlements on the surfaces and things like that.
No, yeah, I've not done that yet. I've been very, as I say, not played Horizons as much as I should.
I must admit, I haven't had a chance to try that yet. I've seen other people do it. I've seen videos of it, but it is pretty cool. I mean, just that kind of flying in low to the ground and through the canyons and stuff, sneaking up on a base and stuff like. It is really, really fun. I did put out a little video on YouTube, which was really, really it was great fun to shoot. It was going down in a settlement underneath the place where the ground vehicle should go and zipping through, which is really, really cool.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I've taken a Vulture planet side a few times with the intent of attacking a base, but I've always got distracted by flying through canyons and reenacting the 80s film Firefox. Was it?
Yes. Yes. Awesome. At God Elite, yes, absolutely. Follow that man, Fiery Toad. He is awesome. He will tell you everything you need to know, and he streams all the time, so you will catch him at some point. So yeah, getting on to what DJ was saying, I absolutely have to mention the stuff in the dev update, and it is absolutely jam-packed this week, so I think I'm just going to read it verbatim as it comes. There was a Xbox One update this week, brings Xbox One platform bang in line with the PC. That is the big news at the top of the dev update, which is really nice that they've got that in line. I know a lot of people are going to be asking now, so well, where's Horizons on Xbox? There are a lot of technical challenges to get it onto Xbox, so I don't know when or if it's going to arrive on Xbox. That's not my call. I don't know that, but it hopefully is coming for everyone on Xbox. But at the moment, at least everything's been updated, so it fits in line with the 1.5.2.0 features. So you will be able to get the new mission types and all that kind of stuff as well, which is really cool. And the big thing that I wanted to make a point of as well. Thank you, DJ, for reminding me. The characterization and customization. So for anyone who is new into the chat tonight, one of the big things which is coming in this season, if you've bought Horizons, if you've got the 2.0 access, Commander Creator is a big change coming in, so you'll be able to model the appearance of your in-game commander. But the really, really great news on here is Michael Brooks has said that. Well, let's go ahead and read it. So, characterization and a more personal connection to the game world has always been one of the goals for Elite Dangerous. It's such a massive play space that it's easy to feel dwarfed by it, and the contacts inside the game can feel quite impersonal, and so only enhance that perception. In an interesting coincidence, I saw some lovely concept that fans have created for personalities, and as a part of the mission flow, this is the sort of thing that we're working on as part of the 2.1 release. Yay! So we're going to get it very, very soon, which I am really, really thrilled to do. Now, I've seen that. I had it, and I've lost it. I tried to find it this afternoon. There was some great stuff that was shared on. I think I gave it up to the team actually, so they saw the artwork. Someone made a great collection of art on Imager, I think it was, showing off little character heads inside little windows, showing their kind of personalities, the factions that they worked for, and that kind of thing. And it turns that mission screen into something which is just a wall of text, and suddenly you just feel more connected to it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I don't know if have you seen anything like that, Rusty? Any of those things? Like, I've lost the link now. I had it earlier in the week, and I wish I had it, because I read that newsletter today and realised that Michael's seen it as well, and I was like, yes, we need this. I mean, going back to the days of Frontier Elite 2, I mean, you probably remember this, Rusty, when you picked the missions, you had the little character there, didn't you?
Yes.
The little face. And we've all seen the pictures of the Commander creator that's coming in. So they're going to be reusing those assets so that we start to see the little characters in there, and we're going to see, you know, who we're working for, which I think it's such a small change, but I think it's going to really, really make everything feel so much more connected, which I think is really, really cool. I'm glad they are using that to its fullest advantage. I knew it was a matter of time, because this has come up many times before on the chat here on Kerrash Landing, and it's something that we've spoke about quite a few times. And just the fact that it is now coming, it's just like, thank you, Frontier. Ooh, is this a binary? What is this? This is a strange looking system. I need to check that. This is the curse of the Explorer, I think, is you intend on doing one thing, you just keep seeing shiny stuff.
Just one more jump. Just one more jump.
Just one more. Just one more. What have we got here? Oh, we can't land on this little planet. Damn, it's got an atmosphere, I think. But it was interesting. I just noticed that little one there, just a little planet off to the side of the binary, and then all these other things. Let's carry on heading out there. DJ, yeah, the best thing is they're all going to be persistent. Yes, so this is one of the things that has been mentioned many times before, is the idea of persistent characters in the game, because you tend to see these character names going around, and you see Homer J. Simpson and all these random names that are generated by the background simulation, but it's easy to think that they're not persistent. There is a level of persistence in there, but with this change coming in now, we're going to have some more of these persistence is going to come through. I don't know whether this is necessarily the tier 2 NPCs, which was mentioned before, but there's this idea that you're not only going to have these things like these minor faction leaders, and depending on your reputation within that minor faction, you'll get a better representative that you talk to, so you get better missions. You can kind of see straight away if you've been promoted. You'll start to work your way up, and suddenly you'll go from a character which is kind of a low level, unimportant NPC, and then you start seeing missions coming off someone who looks a bit more with authority to them, sort of thing, which is going to be really, really cool. Just to see that change, you instantly know that you've kind of gained reputation by getting missions from those kind of things. But the really, really important thing that just stuck out in my mind is this idea of engineers. So again, they're going to be these specific NPC characters that you can meet in the game. These engineers, they're going to tie into the looting and crafting system. So these are the guys that are going to be able to modify your ship's modules and things with the things that you find from loot and the materials and all that kind of stuff, and they're going to be able to craft these unique modules and weapons and things like that for you. But it's going to be nice that you're going to you can go out and find these contacts, and you can kind of recognize that, oh, that's bog flopping, which can increase my laser range and that kind of stuff. So you're going to see these persistent characters in there, which is really, really cool. It's just such a simple little change, but I think it just completely changes your perception of the game. It makes it feel so much more awesome. Enshiv, will the faces be in flight when communicating? Do we know? I don't know whether they're going to appear up in the top left corner, like when you're talking to someone. To be honest, I don't think I would want that. I think that would just be too distracting, it'd be too much. I think it makes sense when you're inside the station. I think that makes sense, but I don't know. I mean, I'll be interested to see. I imagine they'll have a bit of an animation loop. I don't know whether there's going to be any audio to them at the moment. I imagine they're just going to have a little bit of an animation loop when you pick them up in the bulletin boards and the contacts and stuff like that. I'd like to just see a shady guy when you go to the contact screen on the bulletin board. That'd be cool. Ishmael, 1983. Any news on atmospheric landings? They are coming. I could not tell you when. I do not know the timescale for these kind of things. I don't think it's going to be in this season. I think in season 2 we're going to see some planet variants that are going to get in. I think planets with volcanism are the next ones on the list. Which I think is going to be really cool, because when you're talking volcanism, you're not talking just about iron-based magma, lava that we're used to on planet Earth. You're talking about big geysers, gas plumes, sulfur eruptions, and things like you see on the surface of Io. There's a lot of different variations of volcanism, which is why it's going to take a little while to add it in. Lots of different planet types. Elavric, yeah, I could not think of a name. Bob McFlopping, yeah, that's going to make an interesting highlight for the YouTube video. I am banned from naming NPCs. Yes. I'm very tempted now to contact Zach and see if he can get that added into the NPC database. Oh dear. Enshiv, what's been confirmed for this season? So Commander Creator. What has been confirmed? Stretching my memory now. Morty Crew. Yeah, that's a big one coming in. Obviously, we're going to have faces on these crew members before we can have Morty Crew, so it makes sense that the Commander Creator is probably going to hit alongside the looting and crafting is coming in 2.1. That's been confirmed now in the newsletter, so that's definitely going to hit very, very soon. What else? Ship launch fighters. So you can have the little things like, I think the Imperial and Federal fighters have been confirmed as, I know they have actually, I read that earlier on this afternoon, as fighters that you can load into the bigger ships, so you can have those things there. Different planet types, I don't think they've been confirmed, but they've been hinted at. I'm guessing that volcanism is coming in. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the next thing. When I was talking to the guys, I know that the weather is on its way, but obviously I'm pretty sure that's going to be the next season. Enshiv, yes, hangars, yes, ship hangars, so you'll be able to have smaller ships inside your bigger ships, so you can have like an Anaconda or a T6. The new keel back is effectively a Teal 6 with a bit more space. What's that? Ranger? Greetings, Commander! Sorry. Sorry. I noticed you. Sorry, you're there. Hello. Greetings. So the keelback is a slightly larger T6 with a ship-launched fighter bay in the bottom. So you could look like an innocent cargo hauler, but then pop out your little fighter and defend your ship. Set your ship onto autopilot to defend itself. What's that you got there, Toad? Let's have a quick look at your link. Reporting concept for Galnet News? Oh, is that an audio-based one? Ah, I see, yeah. So, I know lots of people have been talking about that. I know Frontier would love to do those kind of things where you have kind of like a voiceover announcing the news and stuff like that, but it takes a lot of work to do audio content, unfortunately, which is why they shy away from it. It takes so much time, unfortunately. Enshiv, no, unfortunately, I think the guys have confirmed that Sidewinder is too big to fit into the fighter bays, which is why the new smaller ships are the only ones that have been confirmed so far, which is a real shame, because it was something they said early on that the Anaconda would be big enough to fit a Sidewinder in, and unfortunately they've had to kind of, I think once they kind of scaled it all up and looked at the size of it, I think they just realised that it just wasn't going to work. There's no way you could have all of the mechanisms in there. So let's go back to the newsletter really quickly. So yes, that's been confirmed for the 2.1 then. So we're going to get looting and crafting in 2.1. Goodness knows when that's going to hit. I'm hoping sometime next month. I really hope so. And a really important point that I want to point out now. Obsidian Ant, I'm going to try and get him on as a guest. Now, some of you folks might know Obsidian Ant. He's done lots of really cool YouTube videos. If you haven't seen them, please go check out his channel on YouTube, Obsidian Ant. He does really, really good videos breaking down the various elements of the game and stuff like that. He put out videos talking about the state of the graphic quality in things like the ring systems, which I think would have been the most noticeable change since the very start, and it caused, in usual forum style, it kind of kicked up a hornet's nest on there. But in fair play to Frontier, they came out and they just said, on face value, like, yes, we have removed some of the effects on the planet, the asteroid rings and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and read this out verbatim directly from the words of Michael Brooks here, because I think he explains it very well. Over the past year, we've made a number of changes to some of the visuals, most noticeable on the asteroids, to improve the performance. Please note this had nothing to do with the Xbox One release, as that uses a different profile. Now that's an important thing there. I just want to break that down, is that it's a completely different render path on the Xbox One, so there's no reason why they would have made those changes on PC to fit the Xbox One. It doesn't make any sense. It's a completely different code path, so you wouldn't change it in two places. It doesn't make sense. This has impacted the visual quality of the asteroids, and we will be addressing some of these causes in the 2.1 release. Yay! Soon, TM. Some of those changes were due to changes in other areas of the game, such as environment map capture. Now, I did notice that the environment map changed and improved from one version to the next. Suddenly we started seeing better reflections on the glass of the cockpit and stuff like that, which kind of makes sense. Those areas of the game need to be rebalanced. So whatever the cause, we're evaluating the lighting, the fog, the shadow, and the loading issues. Some of these fixes we may limit to certain graphics quality options to make sure all of the players enjoy good performance and improved visuals with respect to their system capabilities. So it just goes to show that they were aware that the things changed. It wasn't done maliciously for some of the crazy paranoid reasons that people kind of guessing out there. It literally was just a case of a performance issues they were seeing, stability issues in the game, and they decided, you know what, the things like the self shadowing and the depth, the volumetric fog that we were seeing in the game, they were just causing more problems than good, and they decided to just disable them until they had time to go back and fix them. So the good news is, in the 2.1 update, we should see some of those features come back on. Nice. So yes, patience is a virtue. If my 5-year-old son can learn that, I'm sure some of the older folks out there on the forum can learn that too. Amen. But yeah, definitely check it. If you don't already subscribe to Obsidian Ant's channel, please check it out. Give him a subscribe on there, and I'm going to try and get him on as a guest at some point, so we can talk through some of his videos. But yeah, he's done a good breakdown on that. Yeah, Saturnine, absolutely. It's that. I hate to say it, it's that PC Master Race rubbish coming through. Everyone kind of forcing it. It's like, oh, it's like, we had better graphics and it's all been nerfed for the Xbox One. It's complete rubbish. It was an unfortunate set of circumstances where the timing of the events that they uncovered, I think, as they said this. I mean, this is the thing that frustrates me when I'm dealing with these kind of posts on the forum. Frontier have addressed this several times before, but no one seemed to want to listen to the posts. I mean, a bunch of people. Ben Perry was a graphics guy that was previously on the render team. I think Michael's mentioned it before. Zach's posted several posts. Until it appeared in the newsletter, it was almost like no one wanted to believe what Frontier were saying. Nobody wanted to believe that there were no malicious reasons for it. And suddenly, now it's in the newsletter, I think a lot more people are actually starting to realise that yes, these were the reasons why they've done it, and it's great that they it's finally accepting that. DJ Tarjan, you want to say mid-Feb? I honestly don't know when 2.1's going to hit. In fair play to all the guys at Frontier, they've done some great work over the Christmas period. So I don't mind cutting them some slack. If they want to wait a little while to get 2.1 out, that's okay. So, Rusty, guess what? I've arrived.
Arriving.
I've arrived. And in true style of these kind of destinations, yeah, these big stars, there is literally nothing here but a binary star. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop and scan the pair of them. But it is. I like these blue stars. These are really, really awesome. I've arrived at Rigel B first. That's interesting. I didn't realise Rigel B is bigger. No. Yeah, that's odd. I thought you were supposed to arrive at the star which has bigger mass. Let's have a look at this. Solar mass is 5.96. It is. It's smaller, but it has bigger mass. That's peculiar. There we go. Strange. 9.0117 mass. This one has 5.9 mass. Strange. Very strange. I will go ahead and head to that one now.
Rigel B is still quite big.
It is absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Whoa! But as I turn around and look at Rigel A, you look at the scale of that thing, even from 10,000 light seconds away, it's huge, absolutely massive. I love these giant stars though. It really does kind of put it into perspective. I think it's, is it Betelgeuse? I think that people have been to, you can land on the first planet in Betelgeuse and it takes up like, I think 50 degrees of the sky sort of thing like that. It's a huge space. It's absolutely massive. I think some people were saying that the fuel scoop was still active as they approached the orbit of the planet, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. Garzini's got a good point on there. If 2.1 hits on on the 14th of February, yes. That's going to be bad news. That's going to be bad news.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
Hopefully not. So I've arrived at Rigel. I've got many locations on my list that I want to get to.
So how far? What's the furthest you're going to get away on your little tour?
Now, I would like to circumnavigate. I'm tempted. I'd like to do it. I know it's tens of thousands of light years, but I'm going to go as far as I can go now. I'll go ahead and bring up a map. There's a couple of locations I'd like to reach. There's some interesting nebulas, which I know have probably already been scanned to death in back, but there are a couple of interesting points on the way. But the Eoc Blue A Nebula, which is way out there. It's right at about 90 degrees, about like the far eastern quadrant of the galaxy, right out in the rim. So I want to work my way along the arm, see a couple of sites on the way, and if I'm not completely exhausted by that point, I might attempt to do a bit of a loop around and back. Providing something interesting doesn't happen in the meantime, you can guarantee I get 50% of the way out here and something happens.
That's always the problem.
Yeah.
There's a cluster of nebulae on sort of the opposite side.
Oh yes.
I'm very tempted to go back the long way, but it does make it a very, very long way back.
Yeah. There's where is it? Yes. Is it the? There's all these different names, and they're all kind of abstract names. So I won't attempt to pronounce any of them. But yeah, there are lots of little nebulas around, and I keep seeing these little regions and thinking, oh, that would be so cool. You know, how many of these nebulas have not been scanned by anyone? Yet there's got to be a few mixed in there. When you start scanning around, and you realise there's all these little unknown, unnamed ones.
There's quite a few of the small planetary nebula as well. And I found 3 so far, and one of them wasn't already scanned. So. Oh,
excellent! So those are the tiny ones which are kind of centered around a star where it's kind of like a neutron star is formed.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't really see them. You sometimes see them on the Gal map, but it takes a little bit of searching.
Yeah, very difficult to find on there. Yeah, so I'm going to go on a bit of a sightseeing tour. So Rigel is the first stop, one of the closest supergiant stars that I hadn't visited until this evening. And so this is crazy. I've been playing the game for over a year, and there's still so many things that I want to do and want to see. It's crazy. Shanray, has anyone gone right outside right along the outside of the rim? I think some people have, haven't they, Rusty? Some people have tried to do that.
Yes, quite a few people have tried. Now there's a commander who's on his way round. I can't think of his name, but yeah, he literally is going round the far outer rim.
which is crazy. But yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's the great thing about the game. You set those challenges and you go for it. That's what blazing your own trail is all about.
But that's going out around the outer rim and then sort of jumping across the gaps is going to be hundreds of thousands of light years. Yes.
Awesome. Revian's put a good point up in there. Says, I'm not too far away from the Spirograph Nebula. I'm not. Do you know what? I tell you what, Revian, I will head out in that direction. Why not? Let's go set the course. Because that's only 250 light years. That's nothing. That's a walk in the park. Thank you for that suggestion. That's awesome. I will head out that way now. I've been around a few of these nebulas, but it's surprising how many of them I've missed. Jawada saying, do you think all the multiplayer content that is coming up will see improvements to the P2P system, the peer-to-peer system, and the whole instancing more players for instance? That there is a man in the chat, and I won't pressurize him into questioning or answering any questions on there, but there is a man in the chat who can answer that for you better than I could. I imagine incremental improvements are coming all the time with every version of the game coming out. I mean, you've got to think about the game. It's not just expanding on one front, it's expanding on multiple fronts all the time. So we're seeing 2.1 update coming out soon with all the great things it's doing. Season 3 is being worked on right now. So all of the cool stuff that you're going to see in Season 3, we're all speculating that's going to be the FPS walking around inside your ships and all that kind of stuff. We don't know, but that's what we're hoping it's going to be. That's being worked along inside in parallel whilst all these other things are being worked on. So it's very possible that you will see many, many improvements and updates to many other different things as the game progresses. So yeah, it's a constant moving target. Fiery Toad, you read my mind. Just borrow my son's account. Toxic Frog, yeah, I'm sure he won't mind. Nat's right. I have not visited VY Canis Majoris. I know it's the one of the biggest stars out there. I am holding off. I know it is close by. I am holding off visiting it because my son wants to visit it. I'm waiting until we can do it together. That's one thing I want to do together with him, is visit VY Canis Majoris. He actually picked that out. He was watching videos, and I think I put him in the Oculus experience where you can fly around and see different star sizes. Once he saw that, he's like, is that in Elite Dangerous? And I was like, yes, it is. I want to go there. Can we go there together? Can we do it? Can we do it? And I was like, yeah, we'll do it. So I think that's really cool that he wanted to. So I'm holding off on that one. Game with Ian. Sorry, I've missed that. I've missed the part of the conversation there. Ecos, the best nebula for explorers is the Ghost of Jupiter. Let's have a look at that. 1.3 kilometers, 1.3 thousand light years away. I haven't been there actually. I think that's roughly in the direction of where I was planning on heading actually. Oh, that is quite a way up there, isn't it? Oh, there we go. It's a planetary nebula. There we go. Just like you were saying, Rusty, with the centered around a central star. Let's go ahead and bring all the star types on. Yeah, there we go. Let's have a look at this. A Wolf-Rayet star. Oh
wow.
Oh, Ecos, get the pen out. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm just getting my pad out.
Oh, that is like I said, that's the wonderful thing about this game. There is just so much to see and do, and just keep finding all these really awesome things you want to see. Thank you for that suggestion. I will definitely head that way. Karakino, 314,000 light years for circumnavigation. You tried and failed. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, that is unfortunate. But yeah, it is a big circumference when you start working it out. Speculate. I need the speculation alert. Yeah, I'm gonna make a new graphic for speculation alert. Jawada, I do my best. I mean, Crash Landing has always been about kind of answering questions from the community. So if I can get those questions answered, I absolutely will. Which brings us nicely along to the next thing I wanted to highlight. Where is it? There we go. So, I know I've mentioned every time on Crash Landing about how I want your questions. I might not be able to answer them immediately on the show, but if you do send them to me, either as an offline Twitch message or something like that, I've been trying to gather them and get them together for the guys at Frontier. So, as promised, we have some questions that Zach has got all the answers here for you. Osric has compiled this list for him as well, which is really, really awesome. So thank you to Osric for gathering all those questions on there. But yeah, they do listen. It is just a question of getting them too. So if you do have any questions for me that I can answer, please send them me as an offline message, and I'll try and collate a list together and send it on to Zach, just as Osric has done here. So the questions here. Is the digital art book still coming? And the answer is that yes, absolutely. The team is still working on it at the moment, and we'll have more information as soon as possible. So for those of you who remember way back when on the Kickstarter, one of the rewards that was promised was a digital art book with a bunch of concept art and things like that in it, which is really, really cool. I can't wait for that to come in. I love those kind of inside looks at what the guys are thinking. I consider myself an incredibly lucky fan to have kind of walked in the hallowed halls and seen the wall of concept art, which is... I've seen so many cool things on there, stuff that I'm still not even going to say because it's not there yet, but it's coming, which is really, really cool. So there is some cool stuff coming. That might be one of the reasons why the art book is held back, actually, is there's just things in there that they can't show us until they're live in the game, to be unfortunate thing on there. So this is an interesting one. I've heard lots of rumour and speculation on it. To be honest, I didn't know the actual answer to this one. Does the throttle setting and size and class of the interdictor module have an influence on the potential outcome? So the answer is that the size and the class of the interdictor affect the range that they work in, but all other things are equal. The throttle plays no part. So I've heard lots of people say about when you're interdicting, you should pull your throttle back to 0, or you should put it on full power and stuff like that. The fact is, it makes no difference. As soon as you've got that tether active, it's just going to interdict that target as long as you can keep them in that zone. Lots of questions coming in. Darksmack, field notepads. Yes, we need these notepads. Or if Fiery Toad is still there, ship's log, hcsvoidpack.com. What questions we got in there? Mr. Junk saying the art book would just be full of stickmen and doodles. So that would still be cool. That would still be cool to see the little doodles that the guys are working on. Is what I'd like to see is the to-do list printed out on paper and just taken, because you wouldn't be able to read the font, to be honest, just taken from 10 feet away, sort of thing like that. The ridiculously long to-do list of things which are coming into the game, because there is so much potential and scope for all of the features which are possible in the game. Artbook pre-order includes sensor version? I don't know, Ishmael, but that is a good question. I mean, maybe that is one of the reasons why the art book is delayed. Like I said, is because there's stuff going in there which is just can't be shared at the moment. Maybe there's a little sketch of certain aliens that we might know. Commander Human, greetings, Commander. Thanks for joining in. There we go. Thank you, Fiery Toad. Yes, hcsvoicepacks.com. There we go. The ship's log. It is a really, really cool idea, and it would certainly save me lots and lots of bits of paper and notepads, which I have got scattered everywhere. And it would bring me into the 21st century, kicking and screaming. Rightio. So here's an important one for all of you hardware enthusiasts out there. This is a really, really important one. Will Elite Dangerous support NVIDIA VRI SLI, where each GPU renders each display, and or the AMD Liquid VR for AMD users? And the answer for that is it hasn't been decided yet, which is about as much as I think as Frontier can say at this point. VR is still a very it's in its infancy. The technology is very, very new. The question for the guys is gonna be the same thing every time. Is it worthwhile investing in this yet? They are right on the cutting edge of what is possible with VR. They want to stay relevant. They absolutely will get on technology as soon as they can, but I think they have to make the important decision of not investing in a technology until it's been proven and there aren't too many issues. I think they were stung early on with Oculus. I don't know, did you use Oculus at all, Rusty?
No, I've never tried it. It's
Oh,
on my list of things to do.
oh, so you have to try and get to one of these events, and I think you said you are
Yeah.
going to try and get to LaveCon this year, aren't you?
Yes, and I hear there's going to be a few Oculus and Vive there, so hopefully I'll get a play.
Definitely will, and lots of friendly commanders that will happily give up their rig to let people experience things like that. And I
Excellent.
think VR just adds so much to this kind of game. Like it's sitting inside a cockpit simulation style game is just made for VR. It's absolutely awesome. But like I was saying, yeah, I mean they kind of got stung early on where they wanted to support Oculus, but then of course the whole framework was changed by Oculus, and they couldn't jump over to it quickly, so they're kind of taking the approach, wait for it to stabilize a little bit first and then invest development time in it, which is a sensible approach. I mean, there's no point wasting dev resource on something only for it to be changed again. So I think that is a sensible answer for them. That VR SLI, it will undoubtedly be a thing which they're going to support at some point, but at the moment they just can't say yes or no.
I've been tempted to try and get my Google Cardboard working.
Oh yes,
It looks like a bit of a horrendous sort of configuration nightmare to get it set up. So it's can I justify the hours?
Yeah, I know. That's the thing I found with like the I've got the original DK1, and you can kind of get it to work through various hacks and playing around with it and stuff like that. But it is very much it's an unsupported method. It is a bit of a mare to get it to work properly. So I think probably the best bet for anyone is just take a wait and see approach, wait for the technology to mature a little bit, and then and then jump on the bandwagon then. Oh yes, Commander Human. Yes, I did notice on your post out earlier on today you were playing on 4G. Ecos is just asking, can you play ED on 4G? I have seen a commander play Elite on a flight with in-flight Wi-Fi. Now, admittedly, yes, he was playing solo play basically, but he was doing a couple of trade runs quite happily on a little MacBook Air on a flight going over Europe, which I thought was absolutely awesome that you could do that. It was possible. So it just goes to show that, as much as people talk about the infrastructure and everything, whether it was the right choice, it's like if you can play it like that, then I think it's more than adequate to do these. Everyone is connected to the internet these days, anyway. So, down there saying you have no problems playing normal games with a 4G router. You were streaming at the same time as well, 1.2 megabit up on 4G. That's crazy. That's awesome. Yeah, and I must admit that I early on, at the start of last year, I was playing with a friend, and he was on mobile broadband, which I think was a 3G dongle, and just us two in a private group, and we were quite happily playing. We were surprised at how stable it actually was with just the two of us flying around in a wing in combat zones and things like that. It was working perfectly functional, and I was thinking, this is crazy. You're up in the middle of the hills with a 3G dongle. I'm down here, and this is crazy that it actually works. It's really cool. I think I've missed. Is NGC 2022 reachable from Rocksteady on there? That might be the nebula I was thinking about earlier on when I said that there are some places that I'd like to visit but are actually impossible to reach. Let's have a quick look. This is... Oh yeah, I think that's the one. Otherwise known as GCRV 3533, which is again a planetary nebula. This is where a bigger star has exploded and there's a core left in the center there. What's this one here? It is a Wolf Rayet. I better turn all these star types off again. Don't want to run out of fuel, do we, Rusty? Better not. But yeah, you get these lovely nebulas around these things.
I may know some people who can help if you run out of fuel.
Yeah. If you can find them. And you can afford them. Maybe you can hire the fuel rats. Now there is that in the newsletter. Actually, let's take a quick detour from the dev answers really quickly. I want to just bring up this thing that's skimmed down really quickly. Where is it? There we go. Case Red.
Commander Radlock. Yes.
Yes. This was awesome. I saw this almost as soon as it was published up on YouTube, and I shared it up with the moderation team, and then with Ed, I think. So this is just an awesome addition to the newsletter. If you haven't gone ahead and clicked on this link, I'm going to go ahead and copy it out for everyone in YouTube on there. please do take a note of that and give it a watch. It is really, really awesome kind of advert of what the Fuel Rats is all about. I mean, sorry, Rusty, do you want to just jump in and explain a little bit about that?
So Commander Radlock, I think people have heard on there his famous 2000 rescues video, and then he was on Educating Ed. He's very, very good at putting these videos together, and basically did a bit of a casting session with a bunch of rats for voice and appearing in the actual video itself. The final video is just awesome. One of the better videos I've seen, although I'm probably a bit biased as it's a Fuel Rat video.
Well, no, I must admit, I mean, it really did give me that feeling of like some of the older videos that we saw, like the when Wings update first came out, and you've got the people jumping in, you've got the commanders looking around the cockpit, and you see the first rat jump in, and you've got the breathing still going on, haven't you? It's kind of like you could see that he's almost like he's passing out because it's and then you see that the commanders jump in and come to his rescue sort of thing. It really had that nice story to the background of it, explained what the Fuel Rats are all about, and it just had a really nice feel to it, which was good. Really nice professional feel. Yeah, no,
Fantastic job, Radlock, being exceedingly awesome as always.
Yeah, absolutely. So where am I actually at the moment? I'm still on my way, only 5 jumps away. I think we can make that tonight. I might as well make it out to the Spirograph Nebula. I think that might just give us enough time to skim through the rest of the newsletter and the rest of the questions. So yes, there is another Danger Zone CQC tournament on the 19th of January next week with Ed, and I believe CJ again is going to be joining on all that. I'm going to try and find the time to jump into a few matches and get involved with that, which is really, really cool. Please come along to that if you want to get involved with some of the CQC stuff. It is good fun, and I'm definitely, when I'm out exploring, I'm going to be doing a lot more CQC, I think, in between exploration jumps. The Educating Ed, the Blackbird Squadron, this is new to me actually. I saw Ed was up with the Imperial Inquisition this week. I don't know if you caught any of that, Rusty. The bit of a fight night thing. Commander Dan in the chat was there. It was a great little stream there from Ed. Ed was he'd had a good couple of fights to begin with. I think as it started to go on into the evening, you see him starting to get a little bit frustrated, you know. But it was a good run. I mean, fair play to Ed. He fought well for his first event. It was really, really good. But yeah, this is coming up next. This is going to be on the next Thursday, on the 21st. I believe. Oh damn! I might not be back in time to watch that. But yeah, please do give that a watch if you have time to get there. I need to turn my ship. There we go. This is a bit now. I'm wow, Jow. There's a couple of people in the chat that I know already have this, and I think Rusty, you've got the PC Gamer mag for February, have you? Or are you looking for it?
No, I've been looking for it. Nowhere locally's got it at the moment. Yeah, so
yes,
yeah, I'll try and source one from somewhere.
Yeah, I saw the news. I was chatting to the guys in the mods, and they sent me the link, and I was like, "What's this? What's this?" I was like, must buy this. I love the paint jobs, and I'm dead set on the idea that if I'm going to have paint jobs, I want at least the full set of paint jobs for the Cobra Mark III. So I have to get this. So I'm going to be running out to the newsagents tomorrow, hunting down PC Gamer. I believe this is UK only, I'm not sure, but yeah, they've got this exclusive paint job here for PC Gamer. So if you have chance to pop to the newsagents tomorrow, run out and get it. I've got a bunch of things I need to do tomorrow, but I'm going to find time one way or another.
I like it because it's black and red, so
yeah,
I've got to get the.
It is.
I've got the EGX and the Gamescom skins, but I've not been able to use them because I've been out here since Horizon's release. So when I get back to the bubble, I have lots of paint skins to play with.
Excellent. Yeah, that is the only thing I find was a little bit not disappointing, but it's kind of like, oh, I wish I could change my ship on the fly, because when you look at it in outfitting, it's almost like active camouflage. It trickles down and it adjusts, doesn't it? It's almost like you just want a menu option that you can just change your ship whilst you're out there. I mean,
yes,
maybe in multi-crew, you can have a second person who's just kind of the ship's engineer changing the paint jobs for you. That would be cool.
Out there with a can of paint and a brush.
Yeah, just like Red Dwarf out there, kind of.
Yeah.
Painting the outside. Star Horizon greetings. The Thargoids are coming. The end is nigh. Now I can neither confirm nor deny. But yeah, I've just decided to up and get out of Dodge. I am not going back to civilization until the whole barnacle things has blown over. Mausch87, yes, February's issue. You know what these print magazines are like. They're always 2 months in advance of themselves, aren't they? It's crazy. Leo Sagan, how can you buy PC Gamer if you're not in the UK? I think PC Gamer is in the US as well. I'm pretty sure it is. Saturnine saying, if I buy 10 magazines, I can give some away. If I have a little chat with a little birdie at Frontier Dev, I might be able to give some away. So if everyone's interested, then I can have a word. See if we can get some codes.
Ian, I can think of a few fuel rats who've needed rescuing, including myself, embarrassingly. So there's 3 well-known fuel rats off the top of my head. Yeah, it does happen.
Oh yeah, I mean it happens to everyone. Like I said right at the start as well, it's like I've done it as well. I think we've all kind of hit those snags once or twice. But the fact that there are people out there that want to help now, which is really, really cool. Oh, Leo Sagan, sorry, I misunderstood what you meant there. How could you get the PC Gamer if you are not in the UK? I think Revian's just answered that there is a digital version which should have the code in as well. So you can always sign up for the digital version. I quite like the digital editions of magazines. I think it's just nice and convenient these days that you can just download them. And I've got a couple of digital magazines. I have actually got. I can't reach it now, but I've got the. Do you remember it's the Edge magazine with the Cobra on the front? Do you remember that, Rusty?
No, I missed that.
Oh, I see. Can I reach it? Hang on one sec. This is where it. There we go. We have props. There we go. Live props. There we go. The Edge magazine. So I grabbed this as soon as I saw it, and not only did I get the physical version, but I also downloaded the digital version on iPad, which was quite cool. Because if you clicked on the front cover, it was actually animated. The Cobra would animate on there. Which was nice. So you get nice little perks with digital versions as well.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like I can get the digital version then of PC Gamer and get my skin. So good.
No need to run to the news agent. Right,
no.
1 second. Everybody just put the stream on pause for a second. I need to do something. No, I'll wait. It's okay. But yeah, I do love the paint jobs. It's awesome. I did work out that I've spent an exorbitant amount of money on paint jobs. It gets a little addictive.
Well, buckyball racing, I like to have sometimes a specific paint job for a race. So yeah, I find my collection just grows and grows.
Yeah, it's kind of addictive, but it's nice. I mean, because at the end of the day, you're supporting the development of the game as well, which is awesome.
Yes.
It's just nice. You know, you get a nice little perk, and you help support the game on there. Interestingly enough, it's another thing that actually wasn't mentioned, but as part of that announcement of the 1.4 million players in the game now, there was the financial report that went out. I think a couple of days ago. It was sometime this week, and one of the interesting facts that was in there was the revenue target for Frontier. It was 50% higher than it was last year, which is really, really good to see. So it is still making good headway. They are making a profit. Everything's looking up for the game, which is really, really good to see. So congrats to Frontier for hitting those targets and going above.
That's excellent.
Yeah, nice one.
Excellent.
But Weir's NZ, you haven't spent any monies on paint jobs. That's the great thing about it. It's entirely optional. I'm not going to sit here and force anyone to click paint jobs. I mean, I've got the links below. If you click on there, you can jump through to the store and get the paint jobs on there. But it's great because it's cosmetic. It doesn't give you any in-game advantage. It's just a nice thing. You can show a little bit of appreciation to the folks. I think I've got the Gamescom skin on my Asp at the moment, which is awesome. Love the Gamescom skin. It's quite a nice variation on the Asp there. Oh, Lake Damon, yes, I did get your message. I responded to it earlier on. Feel free to kind of bounce back on that if there's anything else. I will check up on it later. No worries, don't worry. I will try and help you out as best I can, so don't worry about that. Unfortunately, I didn't have much time to respond to you earlier on today, so it was kind of I just gave you a quick answer. But yeah, please feel free to follow up on that message. So yes, whilst I'm scooping, always scooping, let's jump back in, I think, to the questions. I think we were going over some of the questions, if I can remember where we got to. Yes, the NVIDIA SLIs. Let's go ahead and jump onto that. Next question from the community on there. Will there be a first landed on credit at some point? So obviously we get the first discovered by for star systems and planets. The question is whether or not that's going to expand to that. That feature currently isn't planned, but there is more coming for explorers on the planet's surfaces for in Elite Dangerous Horizons, which I think Frontier have been upfront with that all along, that the whole idea of Horizons is get you down on the surface, giving you more interesting things to find, and we've already found a load of interesting things right at the start of the stream tonight, so yeah, lots more things coming on there. When we will see private groups enabled on the Xbox One? This is an interesting answer again. I wasn't aware that it was being worked on, but it's something which is currently being worked on, but they don't have a release date yet. So I think there's probably a little bit of conflict, like technically, on how that would work on Xbox Live, because you have the party chats and things like that. So setting up private groups, there's probably some complexity on there on how that's going to work. So it's nice to see that it is being worked on, because I think private groups are an important aspect of the game. They do allow you to kind of have those nice kind of interactions with players you want to play with without any of the risk of people spoiling your fun, which can happen. iGamer17, can you buy PC Gamer magazine online? I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah, I don't have a link to it, but I will find it later on because I want it as well, so I will be buying it. Lake Damon, yeah, it's probably the junk mail thing is a pain in the backside. That sometimes I get messages, they fall into junk mail, but I do try and check them as often as I can. Fiery Toad on the Fuel Rats decal will say, call 1-800-MAD-DOG. I would pay good money for that decal.
Yeah.
Oh dear. On to the next question. Will there be any more security, police or navy missions coming to Elite Dangerous? Yes, a resounding yes. We plan to revamp all of the military missions to make them feel more like a career. And we're actually working on you were actually working for them. Yeah, so I think this was something that Michael brought up before, is he wanted to make the whole military progression more of an arc, rather than it being kind of a side thing that you're just working at it to gain rep and get permits for systems, things like that. He wanted to make it more of a career. Now, when you look at what the game offers at the moment, in terms of careers, we're talking like the combat rank, trade rank, explorer, CQC. Those are the kind of careers in games. So the key pillars. Oh, I just dropped it off Super Cruise. Didn't want to do that. Those are the three or four key pillars to the game. And I think Michael's really kind of pushing for that, making military more of an interesting and involving story, kind of arc of progression through the game. So. Bitstorm. Any idea what the hold-up is with Frontier and ship skins? You might need to elaborate that on a bit more. If you're saying PC, are you talking about gifts that were awarded as skins, or are you talking about new skins coming for PC? I know at the moment I don't think Xbox players can buy skins in the store, which is unfortunate. Again, it's probably some complexity to way with the interaction between the Frontier store and the I've arrived, yay! The Frontier store and the way that the Microsoft store works and things like that. So there's a lot of potential issues with how that's going to work. And I know, again, I've seen lots of forum threads where people are going, it's like, oh, they don't care about Xbox players, they're not giving us skins. It's like, do you really think a company would not want to pursue another potential avenue of income? Yes, they want to get you skins. They want to give everyone skins. They want to allow everyone the same fair treatment across all platforms. We've seen that in tonight, right at the top of tonight's dev update, is that they've managed to get Xbox up to the same level of content and feature support as PC now. It takes time. They said that right back middle of summer last year when the Xbox One support was first announced, that there would be a time delay. You know, PC would be the first platform to receive the updates and things, but then of course there would be a time delay getting onto platforms. That is the way it works. The QA process for getting on consoles is a lot more rigid and takes a lot longer. So you know, these things take time. So PC, I'm not sure about. Bitstorm, there was a metric ton of skins in 2.0, but none of them released. I would say none. There were all skins for new ships in there except Cutter, Corvette. None of them released. I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware of new skins coming in, coming into the game. But I mean, I'm all for new skins. If I see new skins, I want them. Leo Sagan on there about PC Gamer again. There are January and February editions available. Which one should you get? You get the February edition. Is the edition you will get the free paint job in. I'm going to go ahead and scan every last little thing in this system because I can. Oh, we got the nice faint kind of green-blue glow of the background of the Spirograph Nebula, which is well. Thank you, Shanray. Yes, that's the one. Enshiv, yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. Skins can only come with client updates, which is just the way it is, really. The artwork needs to be on everyone's machine, so if someone else has got the paint job, you can see it. That's the way it needs to work. Now, Rusty, I am conscious of the time, and I know you have been awake a very long time, so I want to try and get through these really quickly, because you are probably exhausted, aren't you, sir?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I've got someone out here, also at 65k, who wants to meet up another fuel rat, so looks like I'm going to be here online for a little while.
You might be. Okay. Well, let's try and get through some of these questions on here really quick on there. This is an interesting question. I thought this one was already covered, but you know, this is the thing. The game is so big. There's so many complicated things. Sometimes people don't know the answers to these questions. Does destroying skimmers or other SRVs affect your combat rating? The answer is yes, which I thought had answered, but there we go. Are there ships that are exclusive to Horizons and future seasons? It's likely that some ships will be season exclusive. The Cobra Mark IV is an example of this already. It's only available to those who purchase the original Elite Dangerous separately. So there you go. It's one of those things. I mean, Frontier want to kind of reward people which are kind of giving them, you know, that early backing and stuff like that, and you know, that's one way of doing it. Is there any news on the possibility of multiple commanders on one account? There are currently no plans to do this, and I know this is something which has been asked about so many times before, is like, you know, we want multiple commanders on a new account. To me, I see it as a no-brainer that, you know, when the original version and the Season 1 hit £10 on Steam, so many people looked at it and thought, well, I'm just going to buy another account and set it up as another commander, because that's exactly how it would work anyway. So I don't see that as much of a loss, to be honest. I don't know many reasons why you would want to run two commanders simultaneously. I find it practically a job, being able to do. Oh, I have flown right past the planet I wanted to go at. Oh, there we go. That was fortunate. I didn't slam into it. Full pout, wasn't it? Oh, it's ringed as well. Oh, that looks awesome. That looks so cool. But yeah, I mean, the multiple commanders, I find it hard enough running one commander, let alone doing two. But yeah, it's unfortunate for the people that did want it. But I think, you know, buy another account. It's if you want the benefit of doing that, I think it's worth the extra money. It appears that some NPC names are used more than others. How are NPC names determined? They're randomly selected from a list of ship NPCs. So yeah, that is you know, going back to those NPC names that were added into the database, you know, way back when as part of the Kickstarter. They're all picked out randomly. I think with the stuff that's coming in 2.1, we're going to start to see the persistence of some of those character names now is going to be. Sorry, I just read the next question down. To follow up from that one, what happened to Bat Crazy Roy? I haven't seen him since beta. And FDev's official response is, he's hiding from you. Just proves they've got a nice sense of humour there at Frontier on there. But yeah, the idea of the NPC names, I think it's going to become a lot more important when we start to see some of these persistent character faces in 2.1, which is going to be really, really cool. You're going to start to be familiar with names and stuff you're going to see in there. Fiery Toad has 3 accounts. I don't doubt that at all. EKs, yes, 2 accounts is the way forward. You're thousands of light years out with one. You wanted to but you want to do a CG, so you boot up a second account. Yeah, see that exactly. That was the way I was thinking about it. I mean, really, if you want to get involved in these things, it doesn't matter if you're doing it on one account or another. If you're doing it on one command or another, it's the same thing. It's the same effect. So. Right here. So back in February, Sandro mentioned some ideas, plans to introduce some kind of hidden cargo for smuggling purposes. Has this idea been discarded, or is it still on the list? The idea is still on the wish list. Yes, as I mentioned earlier on today, the wish list. You could squash people with the size of that wish list. It's there's a lot of ideas and to do and things that the guys want to get into Frontier, and it's all coming. It's just a case of patience, and it will be added in. How far is the maximum expansion range for a minor faction, and how does replacing another minor faction in the system work? The maximum expansion range for a minor faction is about 15 light years. You don't replace a minor faction, you are adding a new minor faction to the system. So there can be multiple minor factions fighting over control of a system. So there was quite an in-depth explanation to how all of that stuff worked in last week's dev update. So I won't go over it again, but I think we did talk about it last week in the stream. It's worth going back and having a look through the forums and finding that information. It is out there, exactly how that kind of stuff works, if you want to get involved with the background simulation and helping factions fight over. Interesting enough, one of the cool things which is coming in next is the minor factions. One of them is going to become powerful enough to be promoted to one of the galactic powers. For any new players coming in, there is a whole layer of stuff underneath the hood that you might not have even seen, is the fact you've got these 10 massive powers vying for territory in space. If we go ahead and pick one, so you've got all these regions of space which they're fighting over back where, man, this tiny little region of space is all that humans are fighting over. That's it. All that galaxy, and humans are fighting over this tiny space. It's just typical, isn't it? Typical humans. Never mind. But yeah, there's this whole idea of kind of a political gameplay going on behind the hood there, which is really cool.
People want a minor faction to support and they don't know who to go for. There's always the Fuel Rat Mischief at Fuel'em.
Exactly.
We're currently expanding, about to hit an expansion phase, I think, or whatever it's called.
Awesome. Yeah.
Fuelrats.com, and somewhere on there we've got instructions about what we're doing at the moment to help our cause.
Absolutely, get involved. And I do find it's interesting. I saw lots of people talking about it, which it did make me chuckle a little bit to myself, where people that previously have swore blind that they don't want anything to do with power play and they didn't like power play when the update came out and stuff like that. And now I see them asking all these questions about minor factions, and they're really interested in getting their minor faction to spread out. And it's like, you've got to sit there and point out and realize that you do realize minor factions is just a stream which is feeding into power play, and eventually all of that stuff is going to gel and it's all going to come together. So it's interesting to see that as people start to make those connections and associations, that they realize it's like this is what they wanted all along. It was just very difficult to understand. So it's nice to see that it's all coming together. That's something that Michael said several times before, is this year is all about bringing those features together, kind of. There's all of this stuff running in parallel at the moment, and it's going to be bringing it all together, making it all make more sense, and just be more meaningful. Those interactions that you're doing at the moment, they might seem a little bit disparate and disconnected, and you know, but they're all going to fit together and make more sense soon. A couple of questions I missed on it. Palmfire, as a new commander, I would have to choose where to start in the game to be near friends. Will this be something that can be looked at? I don't know the answer to that question, but I'll try and get that answered in the next set of answers from FDev next week. I know at the moment you basically pick one or two starting positions based on what you have available on your account. As a Kickstarter backer, you have several positions you can choose to start from. But it would be a nice thing. I think if you bought Horizons, you have at least two starting points. You can start in a station in orbit, or you can start on the ground. It would be nice to have a few more starting points, I think, just like the old game's done. So the way I look at it, in any one of these questions, when someone comes to me, is I think, what did the old games give you? Because if they had the option to do one of these things, you can guarantee it's on the to-do list of things to add in. Wait, so let's go back quickly. Let's pick the next system, the next planet to scan. Scoop and scan. There we go. And I think we're on the last couple of questions, and I think, Rusty, I can let you shoot off then after we've gone through this. Will the Federal Fighter and Imperial Fighter be added to the main game when Ship Launch Fighters is added to Horizons? And the answer is yes, with an exclamation mark. So I'm really chuffed on this as well, because the Imperial Fighter is really, really cool. Currently you can only see it going around in around starports, or you can play it in CQC, but yeah, I really want to try and get in some of these little ships in the main game. They're really, really cool. They're great fun to play. So that's going to be really, really awesome. JJ Smashing Pumpkins, have I reached 1 billion credits yet? I have reached and exceeded 1 billion credits. Yay! Finally, it took me nearly over a year, I think, to achieve it. But I got there, which is why I'm like, done that, target achieved, I'm off exploring. Screw the rest of civilization, I'm off.
How far have you got to get to Elite in exploring?
What am I at the moment? I think I am Ranger, 44%. At least another rank to go yet before I get there, which is a shame. Yeah. Damn. But yeah, so yeah, it'd be nice to get these ship launch fighters in there. Absolutely, that's going to be a nice change to the way that the game works. Absolutely. Enshiv, is there passenger missions confirmed for season 2? I don't know whether confirmed, but I think it's one of the things that the folks really want to do. I think with the whole confirmation that yes, we're going to see missions with the characters' faces and stuff added in at some point in the next update, 2.1 update. I think that's kind of going down that route that you could start to see passenger missions and stuff added in. Once you've actually got a face to associate with a person, it's suddenly passenger missions make a lot more sense. So that I think it's gonna come at some point. T-Core, can I say? It can't be power play because minor factions are fun. No, it's, like I said, I think it's just the perception of it. I think people see the screen full of information you get with power play, and it's just overwhelming, and a lot of people just don't want to touch it. But it is practically the same system. That's what it was supposed to be. The minor factions are supposed to feed into power play, and then the power play becomes bigger, and that's the whole point of it. It will go on there. Yes, and as Ecos is saying there, yes, if you find a small system, one player can have a big enough impact if they sit and focus on it. Enshiv, might be time to buy an Orca. It might very well be, yeah. Will there be a face in the occupied rescue pods? I would really like to see those occupied rescue pod missions expanded a little bit. So when you take them back to a station, instead of just freeing the guy in the pod and selling the rescue pod on the stock market, I'd like to see it become a mission that shows up on the bulletin board, and then you kind of complete that mission, you see the face of the person that you rescued. I think that would be a really, really cool touch to it. And last question off the board, let's read this off on air. Are you able to tell in advance whether or not a surface outpost has a landing pad large enough to accommodate your ship? All surface ports have large landing pads. The ones that cannot be docked at are found only on medium-sized settlements. So there we go. That is the last question. Done and done. Got through it. So I think on that note, it's about time I wrap it up. Have run over by half an hour, so I'm sorry for keeping you longer, Rusty. But I'd like to say thank you very much for helping out tonight. It was awesome to have you.
No, it's been my pleasure. Thank you.
And another big shout out to all that you do with the Fuel Rats and the group in general. I think it's a really, really awesome addition to the game. It's nice to see some compassion in these player groups out there, which is really, really cool. If anyone on the stream watching now hasn't already heard of the Fuel Rats, please go do it. Is it fuelrats.com? Is it now, Rusty? You've got the .com?
Yeah, fuelrats.com, .org or .co.uk. We have them all.
Absolutely. So go ahead and check that out. Follow the guys, see what they do. It's really, really awesome community-driven stuff out there. So thank you very much to everyone who's tuned in tonight. Hopefully I've answered some of your questions. Like I said, please do send those questions in offline messages and stuff like that, and I'll get them forward to Frontier to get some official answers for you. Like I said, if anyone is interested in being a guest on the stream, please do contact me as well. It's all about the community here on Kerrash Landing. Yeah, please do get in touch and tell us your story of Elite, what you do, what you like about the game. But yes, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Rusty. And until next time, see you in the void, Commanders.